everybody. We are back here at the World Cyber Games 2019. It's been a lot of fun so far, and we're going to be wrapping up today's StarCraft 2 event.
That's right. We have the finals of the team match. It's going to be Team China going up against Team USA. It's Neeb and his amateur partner against Cyan and his amateur partner, with the winner of the tournament getting to choose who they play against tomorrow.
This is the tournament to lead into the other tournament.
Yeah.
Now, if we do, when we get to the 2v2 portion here, it should be noted we might have an all-Protoss matchup here.
Yeah.
Which it'll be... We don't cast a lot of 2v2s, so that's going to be pretty interesting to unpack and see exactly how that pans out. But first, we're going to start things off with a 1v1.
Yeah. So it should be the two amateurs fighting against each other to start here. I'm not really sure who's going to be favored in that, but excited to see it get into the team match, to be honest. The team matches have been the highlight of today, I would say.
Yeah. Quick overview here, guys. The game is StarCraft 2. Or StarCraft 3 in this case, Legacy of the Void.
Yes. It's finally here, guys, StarCraft 3. It's funny, we were kind of calling Legacy of the Void when it came out because it was so different, StarCraft 3.
Yeah.
And now it's official.
And now here we are.
You guys were waiting for StarCraft 3, and we have unleashed it.
Right here, right now.
Yeah.
Again, it's so good to be back here at WCG. This is the tournament that started our careers when we were professional gamers so long ago. And it's so cool that it's actually back and in full force now. WCG was going on for... How long was WCG going on for, actually, in the day? Was it about a decade or so?
If I recall correctly, right, WCG 2000 was called the WCG Challenge or something, World Cyber Games Challenge, and it was like not exactly
that was like
the same as
the
trial
pilot
year
tournament or something like that.
Yes, if I recall correctly. And then 2001, it like came back as WCG, and then 2002 is when it kind of started picking up steam, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, and it went on for some time, and of course this is the tournament that you and I prepped for every year, going into our StarCraft careers. It was always, can you qualify for the USA Finals? If you do, then can you manage to represent the United States at the World Finals? Yeah. And without tournaments like this, we just wouldn't have the kind of esports that we have now. And WCG went away for a little while, right around when the StarCraft 2 boom really hit off. But it's back now. And what I love about WCG is the fact that we get so many different titles all coming together.
Yeah, it's really fun, and to do it by countries as well is super neat. I really like that. And the fact that you get people really from all over the world, because a lot of tournaments, it's just Koreans and Finnish people or something like that. And, those are great too, but it's nice to have a big assortment, a big selection of people from around the world. Now, that being said...
I think we're actually in our game here now.
Oh, no, that's not it.
Oh, no, never mind.
That's not it. They're testing
that's
that.
the AI.
Say.
We'll be going to the game shortly.
Why is Raynor playing Terran?
Yeah, I thought the same
thing. He's not even in this match. But, yeah. Anyways.
No, it's good to have all these different games down here together. And the fact that WCG, you're mentioning mostly Koreans and then sometimes Finnish players. It's kind of true, though. I mean, not all games get a lot of global representation, and that's why tournaments like this are so important.
Yeah.
Everybody has a shot.
And it's really cool because tournaments like this keep scenes very alive. Like, for instance, you mentioned esports wouldn't look like it does today without WCG, and it's certainly true. Like, for me personally, if WCG hadn't existed, if they had just been like, we're not going to do Brood War anymore,
I don't know what would have happened to us.
My life wouldn't be the same, because that's what kept me playing, was getting to play in WCG and compete against my countrymen. And
it was also one of the things that
world.
was kind of devastating about careers like ours is when that was over, God, you had to wait a whole year.
Yeah.
For the thing to come around again.
It made a funny off-season, actually. I remember after WCG each year, there was an off-season for the people who sometimes either you did well or you didn't do well, but there's not a tournament for a while, so there was definitely times where I would get done USA Finals and be like, okay, and then I come back in April or something.
Take a little bit of time off.
Yeah. Play very lightly in between.
No, it was definitely a tournament at the time of its birth that was way ahead of its time. We never knew how big esports was going to be, but you can see that the idea was there a long time ago.
Yeah.
And, I love that we have everybody coming down into one place. There's multiple streams going on. If you've got multiple monitors, open those up as well, and you can see this whole thing unfold. And we're eventually going to see which country wins in the end here.
Yeah. That'll be kind of interesting.
There's a high chance it's China, actually.
Yeah, it could end up being. I'm not actually sure of the strength of the respective scenes in the game lineup that we have here. I used to be very on top of that back in the old days of WCG.
Yeah.
Kind of you would know which ones, and normally every country sent at least some players for every single game. This time, I'm not sure if that's exactly quite the same, as this is the first relaunch tournament, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure what team is actually favored here. Korea oftentimes win, but not always.
Not always.
It just matters what the game
one or two
lineup
times
is,
that
too.
China won.
Yeah, sure.
USA's never won a WCG, right?
Actually,
did we win one once?
I think WCG might have won once, but USA might have won once.
Yeah, I'm just not sure. It was so long ago. But either way, just to have all these different games down here, everybody competing. So much of esports, I think because it's so big now, it ends up games get sectioned off from each other, right? Like, how often do we really get to interact with FGC players as RTS players? Not that often.
No, not too
much.
Not too much.
We don't get to interact with mobile players or cell phone gamers in general, but now cell phone gamers. Now that we're all here together.
It's always killing me I can't interact with cell phone gamers.
Now you can, Artosis. Don't worry at all. But yeah, we're all kind of here. Same family. All competitive gamers.
Yeah.
And it's cool to have everybody down here together.
It is. Big, happy family.
Yes.
So the match we have coming up here is going to be played on this big stage, which is kind of neat. I don't know if the players have already come out or anything.
We might have a little bit of a delay even. We already had experienced that earlier on.
Yeah, we like to throw a couple delays in here and there. So we have time to actually talk about things that are important. Yeah.
Just trying to get through delays.
Just tag us in, swinging on ropes and tell stories on the camera.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear this. It's
you guys already talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
No, it's complicated when you have this many PCs all hooked together and there's so many moving parts. I'm actually impressed at the ambition that they had. Now that we've restarted and we're doing WCG again, it's kind of crazy that they hit the ground running. As many titles as they could. There's 80 broadcasters down here, which is just an insanely high number.
It's wild.
I think that's the most that there's ever been in any sport anywhere.
I think so.
Ever. I mean,
it feels like the Olympics because the amount of desks that we have set up for people, it's crazy.
And that's
just the bill for chairs alone must be astronomical.
That's right. Well, that's kind of that Olympic vibe that they're going for. You know what I mean? Is we're all coming together, and it's much more of a national focus. Instead of just who's the best, it's okay. What part of the world are you from? And I like that.
I just wish your production could be a little bit more like Beastmaster. Have you seen Beastmaster?
I love Beastmaster.
Are you talking about the new one that's on Netflix?
I'm talking about the new one that's on Netflix. Okay. The one where they do the obstacle course,
yes.
Right? Yes.
It's amazing,
If this esports stuff doesn't work out,
they just come over to us and we're like, oh, la, 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 la. They're like, let's check in with the people from that country. And like Neeb's doing it. We're like, Neeb.
Everybody's doing their different little dance.
Like, nothing has ever been as phony as commentary for Beastmaster.
Yeah, that's the next step for you and me for sure. I love just like seeing all these different regions coming together, and a lot of times it's regions that you just don't think of for certain types of games. I mean, when I started casting for WCG, like in 2005, it was really fun to meet these players from parts of the world that you're just not thinking of. When you think of StarCraft, obviously you think Korea, but you also think of, Western Europe, you think of North America, but to get all these different countries from all over the place and realize, I mean, over there they're playing it too. Let's see who the best player is. Are they going to win? Probably not, but let's just see how they fare.
Well, it's super cool to see some of those other scenes actually field really strong players or teams. Like, for instance, I was just out back talking to some of the Clash Royale guys, and they were saying an Indonesian player is actually the strongest in that game right now.
There's a lot of people in Indonesia.
It was cool. Yeah, no, it's a very populous country, but you never think of them for esports.
Right.
Like, can you name a very good Indonesian StarCraft player?
I cannot.
I cannot either. It's just not that
Which
popular.
Which is actually saying a lot
there.
Because there's so many different StarCraft players from different countries, but
none come to mind for me. So it's kind of cool to hear something like that from a scene that's still developing their own esports.
Yeah, I think as we see cell phone games continue to flourish, we're going to see a whole bunch of regions that you would not have thought of as being highly competitive in games in general suddenly really unravel and show their true potential.
Yeah. And the thing is, you have a lot of cool potential with cell phone games where you can get like that Yu-Gi-Oh stuff going on. You can get like a little wrist holder that holds your cell phone. You're like, ha ha! And like, no, don't have them sit in a chair at a table. Make them stand up on stage, like this crazy thing that looks like a Pokemon battleground or something. Yeah.
Seriously,
get on board with that.
I think as gaming becomes more ubiquitous everywhere, and then now, first of all, it's easier to get access to the internet and get access to a computer, but with a phone, you can't operate without a phone, which means basically anybody who's living in the modern age is able to try these games out. If they like it, they can start to compete, they can start to master it, and I love that. I love seeing gaming continue to permeate in the rest of the world. Let's take another game, for example, Crossfire. Now, I bet a lot of the people that are watching us are more familiar with games like CSGO, right? They're thinking, what is Crossfire? Well, Crossfire is huge in a lot of the parts of the world where it's not easy to get good access to a computer, or access to a good computer, I should say.
Yeah.
And so Crossfire is sort of like the FPS equalizer where pretty much any PC can run it, and therefore you have a lot more people in rural China, people in Indonesia, people in Egypt.
Yeah, it's very big in Brazil, I've heard, and a few other places as well. And every country has some size scene to something like that.
Right.
Yeah, that's always an interesting thing, right? I guess the cell phones do bring that to another level where, like, almost the whole world will eventually have a cell phone, and then you can kind of play games on it.
Yeah.
And compete in that way because they all connect to the internet. But, yeah, we see that over time. Like that's something that's grown the popularity of StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2 over the years. Is it gets more and more popular in areas the older it gets, because then it's running on the PCs that are more popular in those places.
I mean, it's worth noting. I mean, some of these AAA high-end games, they look great and that's awesome, but not everybody economically is able to just have a top-tier PC that can run everything.
Graphic-intense game that there is?
I don't know. I mean, PUBG, because of the way it was programmed for a while, was just a strain on any computer.
Okay.
They had to have, when that game came out, all the PCs in Korea had to upgrade.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Massively. But I don't know what is the most demanding graphically. The other funny thing, too, is even if you have a game that has absolutely spectacular graphics, a lot of times on the pro level they tend to play it with the graphics turned down.
Yeah, very often.
Yeah.
But
I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure. If you ask me, I'm like, I don't know, a Witcher game.
Might be a
Those
safe
are
bet.
good, right?
Yeah.
So,
looks like we're getting our players pulled in here. So hopefully we'll eventually get this going. Maybe not.
No, let's
Maybe we'll
not
have to reminisce on the old days again.
Yeah.
We've been doing a lot of time filling today here at WCG.
It's fun, though, to talk about those old days. The last story we were telling was about the last WCG that we did in China in 2009.
Right.
We were talking about the players that were there, how exciting it was. PJ having a really close match against Stork.
That's right, with the entire Chinese audience. This was not a stage match either, by the way. It was just in the players' area.
Yeah.
People just cheering and chanting.
Yeah.
As PJ won that second game.
It was super cool.
Yeah.
A lot of energy in there to see someone fight against the Koreans, and then it was a hometown favorite.
Yeah.
Or home country favorite.
That was one of the moments I was in an event and I actually started to choke up.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, this is so powerful, seeing all these people cheering for this guy.
Yeah.
Who's clearly the underdog, but maybe it's got to be weird if you're Stork sitting there and everybody there is hoping that you lose. You know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I almost did. Wow, that was great times.
And we went to the Panda Bear Sanctuary.
That was fun. Well, you and I here have already gone and seen the Terracotta Army.
We did. Very cool. If you're ever in Xi'an, definitely check it out.
Mm-hmm. Very, very cool. And, I mean, Army does it justice. I thought it was called the Terracotta Warriors, but then over there the signs all said Army, and then when I got there I saw why, because there were so many.
Yes.
They were grouped close, though, and they didn't look like they could dodge a disruptor shot. So
no, a few disruptor shots, you'd be able to take out all this Terracotta.
The tech of StarCraft 2 would definitely beat the Terracotta Army, but it was it was huge.
It's mostly
man.
Tier
Epic.
1 and Tier 2 units in the Terracotta Army.
It really was.
Yeah.
It really was.
I don't know what the deal is, but we're still delayed here.
And a lot of them have burrow, too. Like, a lot of
they were all burrowed at the time.
Yeah. A lot of them still are.
That was cool. I'm glad we got to go check that out and see that. And it was a lot more magnificent than I was really, to be frank, ready for.
I didn't think it was going to be that big.
Yeah, at the time I was almost going because it's we're here, and I feel like I don't want to miss any opportunity, right?
Yeah. It's like I don't know if I'll ever be back to this city. May as well go see this thing that's one of the most spectacular archaeological finds like ever.
Yeah. Recent find, too. I think they found it in the 70s. So
that's right, 74.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. I read a lot of billboards over there about the history.
We learned quite a bit.
I feel like I know just about everything about them right now.
So, yeah, that was a fun experience. And then we were at that panda bear sanctuary when we went down to WCG in Chengdu.
Yeah, that was cool.
A long time ago. And that was really special. Seeing little baby pandas. Drinking from the little bottles and stuff.
Yeah.
It was so cute.
Little pandas are pretty cute.
Little pandas in diapers.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also fun every time we come back to China seeing how much more the country's developed and how much more their esports scene has developed. You know, things are moving at such a rapid pace as far as esports goes. It's kind of overwhelming to be someone who's sort of in the middle of it. I'm sure you guys have experienced this just as viewers or as players even, where you're just seeing how quickly this is just becoming a mainstream thing and trying to wrap your head around that. You know, when we were younger, this was about as niche as you could ever have, really.
Yeah, it really
I mean,
was.
It
was such a weird...
We were hipsters.
Definitely.
No
and
fixed
our
gear.
Parents did not
bikes.
like it and did not believe us.
No mustache with wax in it, but we were the original hipsters.
In a way, for sure.
I've got this great game. You probably never heard of it before. StarCraft tournament.
Yeah.
You know. Before it got ruined because it became mainstream. Now it's over. Oh, are we actually going to go into the game?
No.
All right, they're inviting the players now, so I think we're close.
No, we're not close.
Yeah, how dare I say that?
How dare you? Did you have a WCG which was your favorite either as a commentator or a spectator or a player?
You know, I think just for me, the very first World Finals I got to go to in Singapore, because that was the first moment I guess in my head I sort of did like an adult thing. You know, I'm like, wow, okay, so this company is going to fly me out?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm having to choose, obviously I was in college at the time, so it was this moment where I thought, okay, well, you know, college is not cheap, especially the one I went to, and you know, making the decision, okay, I will miss some classes, I will drop a class or two here, and probably end up getting C's or D's when I could have gotten like B's or C's or something like that.
I like that you didn't say A's. You knew I would call you on that.
No, I'm not a straight A student at all. And so I think that moment for me being like, all right, I've got my passport. I am telling my professors that I'm not going to be there. You know, and I told them the truth. It's not like I said, you know, I had to go to a funeral or something like that. And I think for me, yeah, being out there and kind of experiencing that, and then, that's probably my favorite. What about you?
Gosh, I mean, I've had such good times at so many of them that have really kind of just struck me. And the thing is, like every single WCG tournament I pretty much enjoyed. Maybe there was one in 2003. That was the year that I didn't really make it, or I guess 2005 was sad. Now I'm describing like my sad moments, but like, no, I really enjoyed all of them. In fact, my first live stagecast, I believe, was at a WCG technically. I think the week before BlizzCon was USA Finals in 2008. And
is that in Las Vegas?
It was in it was either in California or New York. I think it was New York at Comic-Con is where it was in 2008.
Oh, I wasn't at that then.
And I was already commentating a lot online, but I hadn't done a live one. I was going to BlizzCon soon thereafter, I believe, if I recall this all correctly. And then I
think you're right.
Was I didn't make it to the finals of that one. I think I actually ended up commentating the finals on the stage, if I recall right. So
were you nervous when you first started casting? Was there any like?
Well, I was at Comic-Con, so I was basically the biggest, baddest nerd there. So
you were the toughest guy in the room.
Yeah, I'm like, who wins in a fight? Nerdy Artosis in 2009 or all the nerds at Comic-Con? I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'd take them all out, so it's not a problem. But yeah, I wasn't nervous.
Yeah, it's funny going on stage and talking, especially if it was about StarCraft, did not bother me at all. I was just. I mean, this is all I knew at the time. It's like,
I know.
Yeah, I can,
if I can't feel confident talking about StarCraft in front of people, then why am I even here?
Yeah. For the sheer amount of time
it's the
that
only
we
thing
put
I
into
know.
it. Yeah.
It's like
no, it's
you do only one thing for over 20 years, and you don't feel like you can talk about that in front of people. That would be sad.
It's. I'm thinking about actually the one time I had to cast and play. I was both commentating in Las Vegas, but I also qualified. You beat me, actually, in that tournament. But it was like the worst games I have ever played because it was so hard.
A lot of people that play against me say that, but
it was like such a distraction, both trying to be a commentator and do this, and then trying to go to a PC and deliver your A game. It's
focus is important.
The focus gets really strained there. But that was a cool event as well.
Yeah, that was a very fun USA Finals that year. That was 2007, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And no, that was one of the more. Wait, no, that was 2006. That was 2006. Okay. You didn't play 2007. You only commentated that one. But yeah.
Oh, that was the one in Orlando, right?
Yes, that's right. That's right. That's the one that 2007 is the one in control one. The one last Gosu. That was
last
a fun
Gosu
year.
one, and Las Vegas one.
Let's tell this story because this is a funny one.
Please, go ahead.
Okay, so 2006 is the one we're talking about, Las Vegas.
Right.
I mean, the scene in America was super strong.
Very competitive.
And then there was a Korean person who had just moved over to America. None of us knew him. The entire scene knew each other, had played each other in tournaments a million times. Last Gosu qualifies immediately for the finals and then wins USA Finals. It was like first place was Last Gosu and then Day 9 and then me. And so and it was just this funny thing that like, oh, student visa, he's over here.
Yeah.
He gets to play.
Technically, he's allowed to do this. And it was sort of this weird thing where it's like, but he's Korean and he plays with like pro gamers and stuff. And then, that was the year we all got robbed, man.
Yeah.
Didn't this happen once before, though? There was some player in a land much older than that one where there was like some player either from China or from Korea that played, and I think he played Newbie McNasty in the finals.
That was the Game Fix Million Man LAN, that was my first LAN event.
Okay,
Son of Tomorrow ended up winning. He was
Son of Tomorrow.
I think I believe a Chinese student that came over and. But that was a very stacked field of Americans as well, and he ended up winning. And it was close though. It wasn't And he won that one. He couldn't have been a nicer guy to win it though.
Really?
I like that. Yeah, I got to hang out with him afterwards. He was a very cool guy. Yeah, that happens sometimes. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, well, it's
people travel for school and stuff, and you don't expect it, and it's like, oh, this Gosu now lives down the street from you. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Well, especially at that time because, and I think with the speed of the internet, that we all have now, it's much more of an evener playing field. You know what I mean? But at that time, the Koreans were like eons ahead of the rest of the players. I mean, they already had games casted on TV. They had pro gamer houses. So when you had somebody coming from that region of the world and then coming to the States, it was like a total imbalance.
Yeah. That was a fun year too. And let's see. Then 2007, that was the Orlando one. That was quite a funny one as well. That was like Idra was really coming up at that time. That was right before he went to Korea actually, because he went the very beginning of the very end of 2007, I believe, because there was a big tournament for American players where the winner got to join Istro. Yeah. And that was Puerto Rican set that up.
That's right.
The player Puerto Rican. Who, yes, he happens to be Puerto Rican.
In case you're wondering.
Yeah, that's his ID.
Yes.
Good friend. And he was working for Istro, which I then later went to work on.
Right.
And Idra was like coming up, but he didn't deliver in that event, which looked kind of bad for someone going to Korea to join the pro gaming. So that was the year that In Control took it down. That was a funny one.
But if you look at just the person who In Control is, the guy's so competitive. He was certainly like calibrated to win a tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, he had so much competitive experience.
Sure. And it was especially funny too because that year, right? So America was mostly Terran players. We had like maybe 1 to 2 good Protosses and then 1 to 2 good Zergs, and then everyone else was Terran generally speaking. But everyone was good at different matchups. So that year was like this funny thing where myself and Naokin were good TVT, so we knocked out all the Terrans that were good at TVZ.
Right, yeah.
And then like LZ Gamer and In Control both had very good tournaments and like did outstandingly well, and it was funny seeing Jeff win that. That was a good year. I like that one.
Yeah, and that was really where we started to have the switch over for players like you and me becoming more and more of just commentators, right? And then eventually coming to Korea. Because Idra was out there beforehand.
You know what was really funny is you and I were hanging out, and I don't remember who else was there, maybe Jeff or something. And we were having like a beer after the cast, or after the tournament,
right?
And you were like, "Would you ever be a commentator to me?" And I was like, "Nah, man, I couldn't do that."
Oh, you
literally asked me that.
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, No, that's not me.
Because you were among the more articulate players that were there. You know what I mean? Like some people.
I'm pretty talkative if you get me around StarCraft. Hard to make me shut up.
Not all the players at that time could actually. I mean, were that personable.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah.
What a weird thing that was.
And then so you ended up going out to Korea. And,
2008, the next
2008.
year.
Yeah. And you were like trying to be a pro gamer.
Well, I came out as a commentator.
Yeah. With the ambitions of becoming a pro.
I was like, well, I'll do anything to get to Korea because I need to be there to.
Well, that's the
have
thing
any
too.
chance.
Is if you weren't in Korea at that time, it was basically impossible.
It was impossible.
It
was crazy
to get anything done. I mean, you needed to be on land basically to play StarCraft 1 at any competitive level. So.
Yeah, and well, you have to learn from the Korean players too. It's really hard living in your mom's attic to do that. But yeah, that didn't end up working out. I didn't have a computer and barely got to play when I got there, but that's okay. This other path I took was pretty neat.
So far, it's worked out fine.
Yeah,
and we were both out there, sort of aware that StarCraft 2 was coming, but we weren't really we weren't sure what it meant. It was a very odd situation.
We had no idea what time it was going to come.
That was the other weird thing. Is it's a Blizzard game, and you just don't know when Blizzard games are going to be released. And sometimes they don't release them at all. They'll scrap them, like they did with Warcraft Adventures and StarCraft Ghost.
It was like 2 years before StarCraft 2 came out after we went out there. 2 years. So it was 2 years of just surviving off StarCraft 1 and whatever else.
And the idea was basically, okay, well, StarCraft 1 is so big in Korea. StarCraft 2 is going to be something, right? Because StarCraft 1 in Korea was bigger than any game was anywhere else.
Times a million.
Yeah, times a million. So it was like, okay, well, something's going to happen here. We don't know what it is, but we're trying to position ourselves in such a way that we are in the right spot when it's time to strike.
Yeah. And it's so funny. All of these threads are the way that they all get started, right? WCG. It's just like without this, there wouldn't be any stable lands or anything. As far as other tournaments that were around back then, CPL was around, but that was only really Counter-Strike, and then way before its time, Painkiller. Do you remember Painkiller?
Yeah, I remember Painkiller.
Way before its time, doing the thing that all publishers do now. Yeah.
It
was a shooting game, trying to take over what Quake was doing. Which was, I mean, that was a cool idea, but then it died as soon as the money went away. And there was MLG for console stuff, but they didn't do computer stuff until I think StarCraft 2.
Yes, that's correct. They were all Halo, almost entirely Halo.
They had some other things. Like I went to a Smash tournament with them in 2004 or 5 or something, and they had other games there and stuff. So it was cool, but it was not PC gaming. There just wasn't that much else.
But you're totally correct with it all sort of started with WCG. WCG was a thing that was regular and also global. You got to think about the fact that it, like take MLG for instance, that's very, very North America.
Yeah.
Right? It's like there was like MLG Berlin or MLG, well, whatever. You guys get the idea. It was all basically in the U.S. I don't even think they did any events in Canada even.
I don't think so.
But WCG, for guys like us, right? So StarCraft's huge in Korea, but at least people like us actually have a chance. I mean, there's a big StarCraft scene in the States at the time, but because of events like this, we were actually able to be linked in with the Korean scene in some way.
Yeah, that's true.
Even if, Americans are not going to be stomping Koreans, especially not at that time, at least we had our chance to show off the skill from our region. And all the hard work that we had put in our little meta, and the matches that we were trying to,
and it kind of created
to be the best in.
This great camaraderie within StarCraft.
Yeah.
The foreigner or non-Korean versus Korean thing all started back in the WCG days, and it was kind of fun and exciting because everyone was a fan of all the Korean players because they were so great. But everyone would be rooting for whoever was against them at the time, and it was so exciting when someone took a map because that would happen occasionally, right?
And just taking one map off of Korean was huge.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you have to think at the time, Korea was more dominant at StarCraft than I think any nation was dominant at anything else.
That's an important thing that I like to bring up for whoever there is in esports. They're like, oh, yeah, no, Korea's really good at League of Legends or StarCraft 2 or whatever you want to list. No one even knows. You guys are basically top Koreans in StarCraft 1. And it's still that way. I mean, Eon Zerg just came out. He's the best foreign Zerg. He's a fantastic player. He's so strong. In all the tournaments, right, it just, you hit a brick wall eventually where it's just like, oh, my God, everyone is so strong.
Yeah.
How do you do it? It's like, whoa.
I saw this great quote online about Brood War, and it said, the thing about watching a Brood War game when you have two people of different skill is the better player, it looks like a fencer, a professional fencer, taking down an unarmed thug.
Yeah.
You know, the takedowns are just so pronounced.
That's true.
Because really the elasticity of the game itself, there's so much that you can stretch and do and pull off.
Yeah.
That one is really able to exhibit their skill in just such an incredible way.
Yeah, like every area of the game, you have like the skill floor of nothing. You have infinity above it, where it's like you can get amazingly good in every aspect. There's like pros that only do one thing well, but they're so good at it that they're a pro. It's like,
it's crazy.
What? How is this real?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, and we see a little bit of it in StarCraft 2. As StarCraft 2 continues to age and people get better and better at things. It's funny, though, too, because it still gets patched, so that like, think of Beyond. The Reaper got nerfed because of Beyond.
Yeah, Beyond was so good that we actually had to stop this unit.
If this was a StarCraft 1 thing, Beyond might have just been a 10-time champion because he's so good with Reapers, right?
Yep.
Like that could. There's people that just won championships because their Mutalisk control was good. Like, this is a real thing. It's like, your Mutas are so good, you can just do it. Like, if you put that time and effort in. So that kind of like changes how high you can peak on some of like the micro skills and stuff, I guess. Right. So.
No, it's pretty crazy, and it's important that you have games where there is that much skill that you can exhibit. I mean, these are what actually make the difference between casual games and esports here.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. Sometimes, when I tell people what game I cast, or and they say StarCraft 2, you're still doing StarCraft 2, but isn't that game old? I think, that's the whole point. Yeah. Now we really get the game.
Yeah, no, it's so true. It's so much more beautiful now than it was.
I have history behind me. Yeah, it's StarCraft, whether it's 1 or 2, are it's like, remember Ranking Prime? I'm like, I do. Those games are not as good as what we have now.
No, they were garbage compared to now. If you look at the actual games that we have going on at this point in StarCraft 2, everyone's skill level is so much higher. There's this hilarious thing where there's people like, the players aren't as good as they used to be. Oh, you guys are the dumbest that I've ever met.
Yeah.
And I haven't met you, but like if I do, we can sit down and have a talk, and you would just feel like, whoa, I really don't know anything. Because the players are just so much better now than they've ever been.
It's crazy.
The strength is so unreal. The game just gets prettier and more beautiful the entire time.
You've got all this history there, too.
Yeah.
Like, why is Flash the best gamer of all time? Well, we have so many years where we can look at how much he was killing it, how untouchable he was. It's been tested so many times. And when you get a new game, okay, that's also, there's a degree of romance and fun with a brand new game as everybody's trying to rush and figure it out. And can you get that? Can you figure the exploit out? And will you be able to master this before it gets patched? Because that's another big factor now in gaming, is patches are constantly coming out.
Yeah, that's true.
As they're trying to sand down the edges of the balance there.
That adaptability is almost like a new skill set that didn't exist so much back in the day. It's like Quake was Quake, and Counter-Strike was Counter-Strike, and StarCraft was StarCraft, and Street Fighter 2 was Street Fighter 2, right? It was like, no, you figure out how to play this game, how this game's played.
Well, now that you have to be connected on the internet, whether you're playing an online game or not, at least keeps everything more up to date. But at the time, how are you going to patch Street Fighter 2? The arcade cabinet's already out there. You know,
can't do much about that. It's just, this is how the game is, and get with it, get good.
And so, to just have games like StarCraft 2 that have gotten so mapped out. And by the way, one other thing that I love about this is that the non-Koreans are catching up. Cyril won the World Championship.
Absolutely.
And there's plenty of good players right behind him who are not Korean.
Oh, no. There's a whole clutch of players that are really that level. People like Cyril and Neeb and Scarlet and Special and Raynor. These people are so legit. They are so good. They absolutely can all like make it into GSL and then, crush a bunch of great players, maybe be a champion, And I'm sure I'm forgetting someone off the top of my head, but like, the very top of the non-Korean scene is just right there. It's like I think there's more Koreans. Like if you take like the top 20, I think most of them are Koreans still for sure. But, I think everything just gets more interesting having more competition from more areas.
And it's going to be fun to see where we're going to be in 20 years from now. We saw, especially with StarCraft Remastered, a more cemented infrastructure for like just people kind of picking up the game. And
do you think that so 20 years from now, I want you to think about it. Are any of the Protoss units going to be usable still at that point after that many nerfs?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm still kind of getting a handle on, even though we've been casting for a long time, the pacing of patches, because patches change the game so much. And, not everybody comes in with the same skill sets, right? I mean, some players, like take Beyond, for instance, he was really good with the Reaper. I mean, the Reaper was kind of what carried him to the success that he had. And, once that got nerfed, Beyond was not doing too hot. So I guess the question is, which players can actually survive the different eras of different patches? Because the patches are always meant to make adjustments to make the game, of course, more balanced. But then that can phase in and out certain players as well.
Yeah. It's very interesting kind of to watch that. And I guess it's as well, if you look at the different areas of the world, you have different skill levels for the general races, right?
Yeah.
Like, for sure, Korean Protosses are better than foreign Protosses.
For sure.
Right? For sure, the average Zerg level in Europe is higher than in Korea, right?
Sure.
Well, it's hard to say that because I think that probably...
Let's say it's better than North America, for instance.
I guess I'm trying to group foreign scene and Korean scene as two groups, but like overall there's a lot of really good Zergs at the top, whereas in the Korean scene there's like, we have 3 really good Zergs and then the 3 quite good Zergs below that, but like it's in Europe it's like Zergs, right? And then you got like the Terrans in Korea are much stronger than the foreign Terrans.
Right.
And so it's just kind of interesting to watch that as well, because even when you start doing these balance patches, it's like, isn't that in general going to kind of remain? Is that like these 2 races are a bit stronger out here and this one's a bit stronger over here, right?
Yeah.
And it's like kind of a stylistic thing as well.
Sure.
Yeah,
it's I love as every year passes to see the story kind of unfold, and I think in 10 years from now, maybe even just 5 years from now, I think the playing field is going to be so even with Koreans and non-Koreans. I actually think it's going to boost viewership. We already had a big boost last year as Sarah was starting to dominate. It was pretty tragic at the start of the first few years of StarCraft 2 because the Koreans were just dunking on everybody. But as we're seeing people catch up, nationalism, it draws eyeballs. You know what I mean? Even if that's just watching a Korean lose, which is kind of always a big upset. I mean, it's fun to see. So I do look forward to seeing what players and which nations are going to also start to match the Koreans as well.
Yeah. Well, it seems like it continues to occur. And we'll see if Maru actually ends up winning this tournament. I don't think it's cut and dry.
No.
I feel like the only player that just is very unlikely to win would be Cyan. Like, he is a little bit lower level than everyone here if you look at results and when
he's good, but I mean, the other 3 players are just insane.
Well, the other 3 are monsters. We have the best foreign Protoss, the second best foreign Zerg, and the best Terran in the world. So it's like, these are really legitimate players for their races, where Cyan would go a bit lower in the Protoss rank worldwide than Neeb, for instance.
I think we might actually be... All right, we're going to finally do it, guys. We're going to go to the player introductions.
Cool.
And you won't have to listen to us yap you're going to listen to us yap either way, but now you can listen to us yap as we're in a game.
We have Cyan and Revolutionary, and then we have a Neeb and what was this
I like our
again?
flags we got here.
They're switching flags.
All right.
Why
are they switching flags?
They're trading flags. I'm not sure why.
I don't know what happened. They changed citizenships right there. That's how it works.
What was that all about? Okay. Well, Grad Neeb, you have a Chinese flag to take home with you.
That's right. And so we're going to start this up. It's going to be a 1 versus 1. Resolution versus Stealthy.
That's right, Stealthy.
And then the 2v2.
Yeah. So it should be a PvP coming up very shortly here. And it's going to be the 1 versus 1 to start. And then we'll get into the 2 versus 2. And then if it's tied up, we will go to a 1 versus 1 between Neeb and Cyan, which could be very exciting there. So there's Stealthy. I believe he's actually on Psystorm. Maybe they're like Academy team, or whatever that's called, you know, the up-and-coming team of it, which is pretty cool. And Resolution, we don't know much about him, but he hit a very nice attack against Vasa from Team Europe.
Yeah,
with
just
a disruptor, speed disruptor drop into a 2 Colossus timing push with like 7 gates. So it was actually very well executed, very well done.
Now, this is probably the biggest stage these guys have played on, so...
Without any doubt.
This is a lot of pressure. I mean, this is a broadcasted match, soundproof booth, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Just behind me, I can see our audience. It's filling up pretty quickly here as we're getting close to starting this game.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see how they play. We've already seen some shaky games from some of these guys earlier on in the tournament, but maybe they've gotten the butterflies out of their system, or maybe that stress is going to be elevated by the fact that they are, you know, at the peak of kind of an esports show here.
Yeah. You know what I am going to find interesting in a few years, and I'm sure that someone will remind me at that time if it occurs, but these guys are pretty strong players overall. Like, these are not weaklings, right? These guys are like high masters players at minimum. Maybe even in the GM range.
Right.
But does the competitive bug bite them after being here on the stage and stuff? Because this can happen to people. You know, as soon as I started playing competitively and like played a tournament live, I'm like, oh, I just need to do this for the rest of my life. This is too much fun. It's like, it's a thrill. So do these guys keep going after this?
There's something about the satisfaction of beating somebody in something that you practice so hard. I mean, seeing your hard work pay off, you know. And by the way, we are actually finally going to hop into this game. The countdown has started. Map 1 will be on Thunderbird. This is Stealthy versus Resolution in the finals of our event match.
All right, let's do it.
All right, game's loaded up. Let's go.
So, here we go. It's a Protoss versus Protoss match. I believe we'll be seeing all PvP here. And that right there is Stealthy from Canada.
And down here in the bottom right from China, his opponent, also a Protoss player, it is Resolution. Big cheers here in the audience.
Yeah, the Chinese fans.
Yeah, predominantly Chinese fans here.
Yeah, they're getting on board for Resolution here. I like that ID, Resolution.
Yeah, it's a good ID.
It's like, oh no, I have a problem. It's like, I have a resolution.
He's got his New Year's resolution, Artosis.
That's true. That's another thing that's said with resolution.
That's right.
Good job, Tasis.
I might have to adjust the resolution on my monitor.
Oh.
Whoa.
What if that's actually where he got it? He's like, yeah, I like 480. It never lags on my phone, man. All right, so it's PvP. Thunderbird is definitely a map where we can get 3 bases going in a bigger macro game, but there's so many aggressive plays that can be had. You know, when your opponent, even if you are a little bit nervous on a stage or something, it's good to attack nervous people early on.
Yeah, if you engage somebody right away, a lot of times you can get a fight that you'll come out on top with, and it can kind of play the game from there.
It can throw them off their balance a little bit. Maybe it's not what they were really expecting. They can't play the game plan that they were thinking about before they got into the game. So I think aggressive plays could be very, very smart here.
Okay. We actually have the probe turning around there. Okay, he's going to continue to scout there. I was going to say, definitely don't want to chase that probe back to where you came from.
Certainly not.
And it's going to be 2 Stalkers over here for Stealthy. For Resolution, it is going to be Stalker Sentry.
Yeah, so it looks like a slightly more defensive build from Resolution. It is, again, a kind of a long map, a big map, very easy to defend multiple bases on. So I like that opener by Resolution, but we'll see what Stealthy has up his sleeve.
Yeah, it's PvP is a matchup that can go in so many different directions. There's a lot of different openings you can have, which means there's so many variables to factor in. So any intel, any scouting you can get is going to be handy. Now we have the Robo Bay coming down now for Stealthy. That was after the probe was killed. And a different tech direction here from Resolution. He'll be going for the Stargate.
Yeah. This is cool. You know, the 3-gate Robo versus Stargate is this is a pretty common thing that we see fight against each other.
Yeah.
Right? And, I think it's a pretty even fight overall. Oh, the Robo into Nexus. So, generally, if you go Robo into Nexus, what this means is it will be a Sentry Immortal Stalker push with a Prism a little bit later, as opposed to the 3-gate Prism. In this situation, I almost feel like Resolution is a little bit advantaged. He's going to be able to figure out what's going on relatively quickly. You're going to have to play slightly defensively against his Oracles. And I feel like that should give him enough time that he does not die to the push.
Yeah, that's one thing about when you go for Stargate is that not only is it a harass play in this case, but it's also a scout, right?
Oh, actually a Forge going down by Stealthy here. Okay, so they're mixing it up a little bit. Not exactly what I was expecting and talking about there.
The Forge always is saying that the player is going to go for a longer game here.
Yeah, I'm sure that their teammates are talking to them quite a bit about this. Maybe Neeb was watching Resolution and decided, you know what, Stealthy, I think you're a bit stronger than him. Maybe you want to go for a slightly longer game.
Now Stealthy's going to be coming out. Yeah, Neeb has actually been speaking very highly of Stealthy, by the way.
Yeah,
so
he said he's actually quite a
he's
good
been
player.
excited. Yeah, he's been excited to do team games with him.
Yeah.
And they seem to have some pretty good coordination in their team games as well.
Yeah, overall, I would say.
Now here comes that Oracle. Looks like it's going to be able to gun down several of these probes. Very difficult for Stealthy to pull those away in time. Good thing he has a battery there, though.
Yeah, really helping out. But 3 probe kills is no laughing matter. A lot of Stalkers coming up, though. Ooh, bad warp in location. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
The free kill right off the bat.
Yeah, and we could see already another snipe there. And this is going to push that up the ramp, which is really all Stealthy needed to do back here. These Adepts are not doing a ton of damage to these probes just yet. And it looks like there's a high chance that Resolution could end up losing this Nexus.
Yeah, that is fantastic. With 2 sentries there, 100% that Nexus will end up going down. So this is such a strong play. Like, look, Resolution knows he needs to get down there.
Yeah, he should be able to throw down another force field here.
Yeah, as long as you have another force field, you're good. Look at this. He even gets an observer over here to be able to pick off some units.
Yeah, there's certain units already pushed onto the outside here.
I almost feel like he's making a little bit of a mistake attacking the units up the ramp so much, but look at this. The double Oracle getting serious damage done by Resolution. And now Stealthy's gone up the ramp. This goes from a situation that it looked like a Stealthy victory to definitely a hold here for Resolution.
Yeah, beautifully done here by Resolution. And now our Chinese player has driven all the probes out of the main. And I think Stealthy, this is the problem when you don't have a whole lot of stage experience. You can get a little bit overwhelmed there. And I think something that was clearly an advantage there for Stealthy has been turned on his head.
Yeah, it really has. You can see how many probes he lost to the Oracles, sure. But I think the problem here is he did not end up getting the Nexus. And he definitely could have secured the Nexus. He decided to target down some units, to walk up the ramp, things like that. If you have 2 sentries at the bottom there, it feels like a situation where the Nexus 100% goes down, and then maybe you can play slightly defensively and rebuild your probe count.
Yeah. That Oracle's going to try to dive in again. No way that's going to work with the Stalkers there. And I don't know about you. My monitor just went out. Okay.
Blink there for a second.
I think we'll... All right, we're back in the game now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so it looks like Stealthy right now, right there. There he is. It looks like Stealthy because it is Stealthy. But what he's doing in-game right now is going into Disruptor Tech, which I think is pretty smart.
We had a request for a pause here.
It looks like, I believe that there's a technical difficulty getting that back onto screen. Maybe the cord became unplugged that's feeding the observation computer into the stream. That's what it looked like to me. So,
yeah, they might have to get that
we'll pause
sorted
it for a moment. But yeah, it seems like Resolution's getting ready for some sort of attack. His charge upgrade's almost done.
Yeah, with charge done, that would be a very nice moment to try to come in there and flood that area.
Yeah, maybe he can get something done there before anything comes out for Stealthy. But Stealthy is going up to Disruptor Tech, it looks like. Oh, I like that keyboard. That's kind of handsome. You like that keyboard?
Yeah, it's a cool keyboard.
It's like so square. I wouldn't use that one. The F keys are not far enough away, but I like that. It was good looking.
I also like that it doesn't have the number pad on there. I've never been a fan of the number pad.
Anyone who plays the number pad literally doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, you don't need to have... I think people use them in MMOs, but I'm not an MMO guy.
It creates more space,
between your right and left hand.
options between your right and left hand. And that's just like, oh, you just happen to need exactly that amount of space in between your right and left hand? Well, aren't you lucky that you just happen to be born in the proportions of a keyboard that wasn't invented yet?
Born in the proportions of a keyboard that wasn't invented?
It's like, no, guys, use 10 keyless. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But I need it for my work. Listen, you go down to Best Buy and you get yourself the number pad. That's its own little plug.
That's right. You can have a separate one you put somewhere else.
That's
okay?
right. Yeah.
Well, that's too bad. There's a bit of a delay. That can only up in the anxiety for these two.
Yeah. I hate when my anxiety gets upend.
Yeah. I had to up in the number of words I was using in this cast.
Yeah. Well, eventually you've used all possible
But
combinations
maybe I went
of
too
words.
far. I might have to down in that after that statement.
For sure. I like the pins.
Yeah.
Canada pin, China pin.
Canada.
Yeah. That's where he's from. He's not from America.
We'll take him as our own, though. He's 2 American casters. He's under our umbrella right now.
That's right. Well,
We're
he's on
rooting for
Neeb's
him.
team, so
That's right.
he's an official American for this match.
So we haven't been notified of what the technical issue is. I don't know how quickly or slowly it's going to be resolved.
Yeah.
But you can see the crowd unfazed here. A lot of people down.
Yeah, pretty decent game so far and everything. The crowd definitely has been filling up. This morning when we first got here, crowd didn't have too many, but at this point the whole center is being filled up quite a bit. People everywhere enjoying themselves, having a good time. And that's the way it should be, Tasteless.
Damn right.
If you're not having fun, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, this is... I think we're actually going to be back. Okay, we've just now unpaused the game, so we're going to hop back into this.
All right.
As a reminder here, it appears that Resolution is gearing up to do a pretty big attack over here onto Stealthy with his Zealot legs about to finish.
You would think so, right? He's got that prism coming up, so there's definitely some potential here.
Disruptor coming out, I mean, that's the easiest thing to kill Zealots with.
Yeah, if you just nail that on an incoming pack of Zealots, you're going to get a lot of value. Look at those Stalkers. Of Stalkers without Blink. You want to talk about something easier to hit?
It's true, Artosis.
Maybe a building, but like other than that, you know?
Destructible rocks.
Yeah. Well, he actually loses the Oracle, so he's not actually going to see the exact zone Stalkers.
Oh, that was beautiful play there by Resolution, and now he's completely hitting this area. One Disruptor goes down, and another big warp in here.
Yeah, definitely some missed micro going on by Stealthy, and it really seems like Resolution's going to be able to take it here. He's waiting for this next Disruptor shot, doesn't want to give up till he gets it at least.
He's even unpowered the robotics facility, and I think even if Stealthy holds his attack off, I can't imagine how he gets back on his feet.
Yeah, this is a very tough one indeed. His probe count has gone down to 5 at the moment, so he doesn't have much left. Gonna try. Misses for the most part.
Yeah,
and I
still
think that's
not enough.
I think Resolution's done it.
Should be GG here, and we're going to have to go to the team game for game number 2. Big victory for China.
Yeah, that's a very nice win. Resolution proud of himself here. Getting a shot of that screen. Maybe it's a selfie with him, I don't know.
All right. Big cheers
very
to the
proud.
audience.
Very proud.
Team China is one victory away from taking it in the show match.
You can see those smart raptor eyes on the side of his headset glaring at the audience. Half raptor, half machine.
That's right.
100% sound.
And so, now we go to the team game. I believe this is going to be 2 Protosses versus 2 Protosses.
I hope so. That would be so interesting. There's so much strategically you could think to do with that, right?
He's looking pretty comfortable up there. Look at that. He's loving the camera. Ooh, watch out. Love you back.
Ooh.
All sorts of signals sent out there.
Now, Neeb. How do you pull this together, Neeb? I really would actually kind of like for Cyan's team to win because both Neeb and Raynor were saying that if they were to win this tournament, they would choose Cyan as their first opponent.
Yeah.
So let Cyan have the choice. Who does he want to play against? And you know what's really funny? I betcha it'll be Neeb if he wins. Because I think PvP, Cyan could put up quite a good fight there.
Yeah.
Right?
This is fun. I'm glad we get to cast a little bit of 2v2s. We never really get to do this.
Yeah, it's neat.
Pretty much everything we do in Korea is like a one-on-one, so 2v2 is not something I'm particularly familiar with for StarCraft 2. I know we both did a lot of 2v2s in StarCraft 1, but...
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're getting some level of familiarity. I don't know what the competitive 2 versus 2 scene looks like that much. I know that there's a solid group of players that play it regularly.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm sure that those players would be really strong in a match like this, but... Alas, here we are.
PvP, if all players are Protoss,
PPVPP
is the matchup we'll probably have here. And this is funny because, Protoss versus Protoss in a one-on-one is already such a technical starting matchup. There's more directions that matchup can go than the other mirror matchups, basically. But I don't know what it's like if you have double the number of Protoss, right? I would imagine it's a similar thing where it's like, okay, do we go for Oracles? Are we going to go for Stalkers? Do we use some kind of timing attack? How does this work?
Okay, so my gut is that you wouldn't go Oracle. I think that's like Oracle.
Good.
Yeah, no, I feel like if two players make units and then one guy goes Oracle,
I guess the Oracle can't really help in a fight. You could just target it out of the sky.
Yeah, the Oracle, like, whenever you go Oracle in PvP anyways versus one player, you're kind of fidgeting around to make sure you're fine with it, right? Like, it's not like you're just going to die because you went Oracle, but it's not helping in battles very much.
Yeah.
Phoenixes, though, I liked what they were doing with Phoenixes in that one game.
Yeah.
In the 2 vs. 2, where it was like Phoenixes and then like Charge Immortal were the two comps that we saw from Cyan's team. I could see Phoenixes possibly being pretty strong.
Yeah, well,
like
you know, with
lifting
Phoenixes,
Immortals?
if you have one guy going Phoenixes, exactly, and they just remove the Immortals from the fight, as this year has continued to pan out for us in StarCraft 2, we've really seen that, like, the unit to watch for in any fight is an Immortal, especially if it has a War Prism with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you get the Phoenixes out, you can, A, pick up the Immortal, and B, kill the War Prism.
Yeah.
Which eliminates a lot of the micro possibilities that could allow you to come back.
Hey, what about this idea? What if you both went Void Rays? Okay, hear me out. Void Rays scale real quick.
Okay.
Like after you have a few, like if you have one Void Ray, there's not much weaker than one Void Ray.
Yeah.
But like you get to a certain amount where they actually become somewhat fearsom.
Yeah,
I don't know if you ever watching Control Stream, but sometimes for some reason he has 10 Void Rays and they just fly around and kill everything.
Well, Void Rays are a funny thing, especially if you have enough of them, because they sort of blast everything down before there's a lot of time to respond. I don't know. The thing about Void Rays, though, is it kind of takes a little bit before you really have them going for you, so I feel like you would die to some other kind of rush, right?
Maybe.
That being said, I don't know how familiar these guys are with 2v2 to begin with. It's not like they're coming in here with something perfectly mapped out, right?
No, and DTs seem stupid, right? There'd be no reason to use DTs.
No, I think that would be one of the worst techs.
DTs?
Yeah.
It's like
comes a base trade and
just mass DTs everywhere.
No, I think DTs is the one thing you just can't go for, because if DTs can be seen, especially if it's 2 players and not even just one, they're not going to do any damage.
Nothing. They'll do nothing.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that, though, if all 4 players went DTs and then, like, the winning team was because they had 6 DTs surrounding a pylon so the other DTs couldn't attack it?
That'd be hilarious.
That would be so funny.
I guess we're still trying to find the right 2v2 map here. Well, not us, but whoever's making the games. So as soon as that's ready, we'll try to hop into that game. But
yeah,
getting a lot of downtime here at Tosis.
Certainly. And, you know, we love our downtime.
We love it.
We love to talk about all sorts of things.
For downtime.
Yeah.
So cool WCG's back.
Yeah.
So happy. It feels like the old WCG too.
It does.
There's something about it. You know? I was curious if this was going to have a completely different vibe to it, but once I came in today, I thought, no, the good old days are back.
Yeah. I love this type of event. It's just big convention hall. It's kind of open. There's a lot to do that isn't just watching esports on the stage, so you can kind of relax and do something else or check out a new game or something. And yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Great audience down here as well, really filling up. Do tell your friends that this show's on. I don't think that the advertising was quite out there yet. I mean, they had to do so many things to get this tournament going. It's a lot of work, all to kind of lead up to this one big moment. But tell your friends to join us here. We're, of course, going to be back tomorrow and the next day as well as WCG continues onward.
That's right. The main tournament will be happening starting tomorrow. This is for seeding, so... yeah, that'll be fun to see who takes that down. We don't know what the bracket looks like, of course, until we finish this match.
Excuse me. We won't know that until we eventually wrap this series up. Right now, it's China with a 1-0 lead. We started that off with a 1v1, but now we're going to go to the 2v2 portion.
So,
here we are, Joseph.
What else can we talk about? We've been talking a lot about our WCG memories.
Yeah.
What other WCG memories do you have,
let's think here. I mean, what was the biggest audience that you got to cast in front of when you were doing WCGs? Or was it mostly stuff like this? Like, we're here and there's like a live audience, but it's not like this audience is listening to us.
Yeah.
They're listening to the Chinese commentary. I'll tell you a story, man. I was so nervous to do the Singapore event because while I'm not afraid to do public speaking about StarCraft, I wasn't comfortable enough with myself to do the hype. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of a weird thing to get up there and shout into a microphone about a game.
So you started off as an analytical commentator.
I wanted to, but then they told me, like, you need to hype this up. And
it's a good fit for you.
In Singapore, everybody speaks English. It's the main language. So it's like, I'm like, really? I'm going to talk in front of, and there's like thousands of people. And I went out there, and I was like, are you guys excited? Let's make some noise. But as I've said noise, my voice cracked. I'm like, noise! Ooh. It's somewhere on the internet. Somebody can find that.
That's amazing. Were you with DJ Wheat for that?
I was with Kim Pham. Casting with Kim Pham for that.
Cool.
I'm 99% sure it was with Kim Pham.
Yeah, I think
who
you're
ended
right.
up working at Blizzard and running esports there for some time.
Yeah.
Very talented commentator. A lot of people forget she was a commentator. She's very good one. Very good one.
And that was your first big stage.
Yeah, no, I went right from that kind of haphazard cast of the USA finals. I was shot right into that, which is sort of frankly, I mean, it was kind of scary at the time because I'm thinking, I hope I get hired again. I hope I don't suck. But you almost need to bomb in this industry. It's like stand-up. You can't just write out a bunch of good jokes and then suddenly show up on stage and have everything worked out.
Totally.
And so some of this is sort of just, I don't know how else to say it, bombing or experiencing this firsthand.
Actually, the very first time I was in front of a big audience was at my first BlizzCon in 2008. And I remember
you were with me for that, right?
With you and DJ Wheat. It was a 3-man cast.
That's right.
And I remember I was a bit nervous before going on because I had never really done it, and there was a lot of people. There was a lot of people
on that stage.
But as I recall, we went on stage, and Snow White's carriage came up, and the door opened, and you and DJ Wheat each took one of my hands, and I walked up to the desk. This is how I remember it, and made it just so easy.
That's funny. Yeah, it was, because he's the guy that really taught me how to cast. Yeah. I remember, I'll give you another story, actually. I had this, so I was hired to do casting, but I think it was for GGL, I think is what it was called. And they needed me to go make content and kind of run around the event.
Yeah.
And so they gave me this hand mic, and they said, we need you to kind of report. They gave me a camera guy.
Yeah.
This guy was much older than me. Very cool guy trying to make me relax. And I just they wanted me to hold a mic and walk forward and be like, wow, we're playing these games and it's really packed here. And it was all for B-roll, by the way. It wasn't live. And I tried to do it 3 or 4 times. And each time I started kind of I get halfway through my thoughts and then I'd mess up and be like, I'm sorry, can we try that again?
Yeah.
And eventually I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I was just I don't know. I've never done this before.
Wasn't within you.
Yeah, I wasn't comfortable enough with myself yet. And then
that's funny.
DJ Wheat was taking me under his wing and teaching me the ways. And if you guys can imagine a montage.
He was a mentor to just about everyone in the old days.
Yeah, it was kind of like some kind of Karate Kid moment.
Yeah.
He was showing me how to do it, how to be cool up there, how to be comfortable. And
cool time.
Yeah, I mean, eventually here we are. We've been in this delay for a long time, and we're still relaxed up here, yammering away.
This is my natural state.
Bring it on.
Is yammering away about StarCraft
delays.
in some way. StarCraft or esports or something.
All right, this music. Now, this is kind of like what you call stock epic music. Look at Neeb. So handsome.
Yeah, Neeb's ready, man.
America.
The 2 versus 2 is going to be starting here.
I like these WCG outfits we got. They're actually pretty cool.
Yeah, they're
pretty
super
slick
cool.
looking.
They're super cool. This is, I doubt it's done like it was in the old days, but in the old WCGs, the national team would, if you were going outside the country, would all meet for the same plane. Like in 2004, 2006, I went to Italy, and the entire team met at the airport beforehand. And everyone had their jackets and stuff and got on the plane together, and it was neat. It's kind of a funny thing.
So, our players have now joined the lobby. Again, this is a 2v2. See, I can confirm they are all going Protoss.
Oh, excellent. This is what I wanted all along. I think we're going to see a lot of stalkers. A lot of stalkers.
All right.
Oh, Efflorescence LE.
That's what I'm talking about. Our game is starting at last. Let's continue on right now. North America versus China. The 2v2 part of the show match begins here. If the North American team can win, we will go to the third and final game. Uh-oh. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. All right. So in the top right section of the map with the two purplish colors, that is going to be Cyan and Resolution. Cyan is the lighter one. And then we have Stealthy and Neeb down in the bottom leftish area of the map. So let's watch that production tab, Tasteless.
Let's do it, my friend. So we were already predicting probably you don't go Oracle at all here. You most definitely don't go DTs.
I wonder if like you're just going massive death.
You got to point out that they're actually in close proximity to each other here.
Yeah. You know, the way that I'm thinking about 2 versus 2 with 2 Protoss against 2 Protoss, oh my God, speaking of Protoss against Protoss, Rotterdam walking in blowing kisses.
That's right.
Ready to watch his boy Cyan
try to take
on
my cast.
Yeah. But yeah, it's so funny watching my primitive brain try to figure out what units are going to go, because this reminds me of, I used to think of ideas like, if I only had 1 card in a Magic deck, what would be the strongest Magic deck?
Yeah.
All lightning bolts, right? And that's what I keep doing in this. I'm like, what if they both went only
Stalkers with Blink?
Yeah. If they only made Phoenixes. It's like, well, I don't know. Maybe it'll just be like a balanced composition on both sides.
Yeah, we're like, okay, I guess Immortals are good. You want to have that with a bunch of other tier 1 units. Yeah, we'll see. Cybernetics Core is going down for everybody. But we do have the first hidden pylon on the map. And excuse me, Stealthy also hiding a pylon here. So both Stealthy and Neeb.
Yeah, they're both hiding pylons.
Now, what's the deal with that?
Are they both going to proxy Stargate? Could that even be a thing?
Maybe.
Both hide DT tech. It's like, no, this doesn't make sense.
You're making us look bad. Stop.
All right. So we have Cyan making a sentry. He's kind of breaking out of the mold that everyone else is in of just making stalkers. This could just be a gigantic stalker type of game. Obviously, in the early game, these are the really microble units that you can do a lot with. They kind of beat everything early on. Robo's going up here for both Neeb and Stealthy. Stargate.
There it is.
For Cyan.
And Cyan seemed to have a pretty good handle on his 2v2 earlier, so let's see what he's actually going to give us here.
Strategically, it felt like they played the best so far for 2 versus 2.
One thing you got to remember, guys, StarCraft 2 is huge in China. It's sort of a thing that I don't think we get to remark on very often, because especially if you watch our cast, where, first of all, Korea is sort of the overshadowing topic of discussion whenever StarCraft comes up. And then, of course, if you're watching an English language cast, we're probably very excited to cast players like Neeb or the Europeans. Let's say we get Special in the GSL, for instance, Scarlet. We're not casting that many Chinese players, but it's got to be noted, StarCraft 2 is huge in China.
Yeah.
And they've had a long history going all the way back to the starting days of StarCraft 1 of just having incredibly dominant players. Mm-hmm. And also a very big team fight scene in StarCraft as well, back in the StarCraft 1 days.
Yeah.
Some of the best teams were Chinese players. And so you got to think some of that's coming into play here for our Chinese team now.
Yeah, the Chinese scene has always been pretty strong as far as RTS goes. There's no doubt about that. I guess StarCraft 2 actually has been kind of their weakest in world rank out of the different RTS.
They were killing it in Warcraft 3. China dominated so hard in Warcraft 3, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, there was like a couple non-Koreans, and then a couple Koreans, and then a bunch of Chinese players. And then Star 1, China was generally top 3 country or so.
Yeah,
obviously Korea by far number 1, and then I think America and China towards the end were number 2 and number 3.
I mean, the European scene was good, but there was never one European country that just had.
What about Sweden? What about you weren't there, and I'm telling you the truth. Okay, so a lot of stalkers out in the middle of the map. Neeb moving forward right now. Ooh, nice micro right there. Cyan having to pull back.
Ooh, okay, we got the recall going here. Nice snipe taking out one of those.
I love the flank that came up. Very good defense here from Team China.
Here comes that Oracle now. It does appear that Stealthy's base is basically naked, so
look at
two
this.
Oracles can actually blast down a lot of these workers.
Yeah, they really can. They really can. By the way, look at this. It's like both sides, they're making Immortals, but then also Neeb is going for Disruptor Tech. I really think that's a cool idea. Kind of get everything at once. Normally you go Disruptors, you can't really make Immortals, but if you have 2 players, it's not like 8 disruptors and 4 disruptors is kind of the same. In fact, maybe the 4 is better because you have other units with them. You know what I mean? So you don't need 2 players going disruptors.
Okay, nice force fields here. Resolution trying to push the issue here. Neeb on the defense. And Neeb in a pretty awkward angle here, but here comes Stealthy to try to help out.
Pushing him back really well. Gets that prism. A lot of units actually up there right now. Okay, he's going to go ahead and ferry up his Immortal and some Stalkers. So
and now these Oracles can come in here and help with the fight. This is huge.
Yeah. Really cool play here by Team China. It's starting to get quite a few probes. Good targeting there by Neeb, trying to get rid of the Oracles, but unable to. Well, we haven't seen Recalls doing that well today, but I guess he does get a few of them out.
Okay, kind of an awkward attack there, but I think they really got a bang for their buck with what they managed to do. And I mean, let's be completely transparent here. Neeb is a stronger player, so eliminating him's worker count puts a lot of pressure here on Stealthy.
All right, another recall going down. Resolution going to take back his Stalkers. Immortals being made, charge on the way. Neeb looks like he wants to get the pressure on. Stealthy's coming up right behind him.
Okay, and they're going to have to make something happen here. I'm just worried that they're not going to have enough. And here comes that initial attack here. We see that Resolution's going to try to back up. Where is Cyan in all this? Oh, I'm sorry. He's actually right there.
Yeah, he's coming over. A few Adepts shading in here.
And this is the right idea. I just don't know if it's actually going to work.
Yeah, look at that. A lot of force fields going down, keeping some of this army back. Oh, it seems like the defensive Protoss is here doing a reasonable job.
Yeah, so far so good here for our Chinese team.
Yeah.
And again, Neeb never remade any probes here. It seems like he almost wanted to try to just do an all-in counterattack. So this has to do some damage, but really, all the Chinese team has to do is hang on and outlast this, and they should be in good shape.
Well, they're microing back pretty well overall. Looks like these guys are splitting up slightly. A Phoenix comes out and lifts up that Immortal, obviously a very important unit here.
No more War Prism here for Neeb, but he does have this Immortal, and it seems like maybe enough to actually keep pushing through. Meanwhile, Stealthy doing a great job taking on Resolution.
Yeah, both of them attacking really heavily, but I don't think anyone's getting finished here.
No, I don't think so. And again, it's still Neeb now only up to 17 probes. He's trying to play catch-up behind this attack, but he's going to lose these Immortals in this fight, and this is really quite a bit of damage
here. Seriously. The fact that both Neeb and Stealthy have Stalkers and an Immortal left each.
Yeah.
Maybe they did do it.
Yeah, I thought they had not, but actually as this goes on a little bit further, I'm like, well, you know, we've learned one thing about Immortals and Warp Prisms. Oh, hold on. No Warp Prism there.
Gets the last Prism, so that's kind of a big deal, of course.
The thing is, I think there's just, there might be too much. I mean, 2 Immortals is an insane amount.
It's pretty serious, but they don't have anything for Warpins over here, and to be honest, there's more Nexuses for Team China.
Yeah.
Right? Neeb never took another Nexus.
Yeah, that's the big picture here. So, I mean, all that our Chinese team has to do is just stay alive and keep producing
stuff.
Look at the probe. Eventually... Go ahead.
I was going to say the probe counts. Like, Stealthy has the big economy right now.
Yeah.
Is Stealthy the MVP of WCG 2019?
Unfortunately, no.
No? Oh, okay. Thought he might be.
Not only that, but Resolution is just a pretty solid player overall anyways, you know? And so I think this is going to be tougher for him to take on, Stealthy to take on both Cyan and Resolution, with Neeb limping through this game. I don't see any moments where Neeb's going to expand here either.
I think he's going to expand right now. We saw him bringing a probe towards it, which got chased away, and he is going to Disruptors, which is kind of Neeb's special unit. You know, if he's known for a unit, maybe that's Disruptor.
We're almost at 400 minerals, so that there it is. The Nexus is going down now.
Feels like the game might slow down a little bit. I think, you know, it's very interesting with Disruptors being added in. That seems to me to be a situation where attacking in becomes extremely difficult.
Yeah, and 1 or 2 missteps and your army could be cut in half. So,
well, especially with this many units, like the amount of the sizes of the armies, the Disruptor shots are more likely to do more damage.
And the AI clumps the units pretty steadily. So
yeah.
We have 2 more Oracles down here. Now these are going to be parked outside in case Stealthy and Neeb try to push out once more. Is he going to push right now? I don't.
He's walking across the map.
Yeah, but Stealthy is not, which makes me a little bit worried here. There seems to be maybe some miscommunication.
Well, this could just be him doing something like taking that watchtower, watching for anything coming, right? Stealthy is doing a little bit of drop harassment, it looks like.
And the burden right now is really on Stealthy to try to just keep a presence here on the map, because Neeb's going to have to play catch-up. Again, Neeb now at 25 probes, so by far the least out of all the players here.
Cyan's Oracles have been so heroic this game. He's gotten a ton of damage done with them overall. Also, should be noted that speed for prisms is being researched by Neeb here. So I think we'll see some disruptor drops going around very, very quickly.
Will we have an attack over here at this third base for Stealthy? That's what I'm wondering. Because you got to think that Cyan and Resolution are gearing up for a fight pretty soon, right?
Yeah. Well, let's see. There are some Phoenixes coming out. Second starport as well for Cyan. So that's actually kind of a fun little fact about the development of PvP after the Disruptor came out.
Yeah.
For a while, everyone thought it would be only Disruptors, and actually the Chinese scene really pioneered like Immortal Archon Phoenix to deal with it. They were really the players that were utilizing that quite a bit against it. It was neat because I saw them doing it for a while, and it took a while before the rest of the scenes really caught on to it.
Oh, these Disruptor shots could be huge. Oh my god. Had that
gosh.
connected, it would have been a completely different game right now. He would have taken out like 7 Zealots.
Yeah. Well, pulls back for now. We'll see what Neeb gets done with that.
Oh, great blink
Nice
in here
catch.
by Stealthy. He takes out both of Cyan's Oracles.
My god. This is exciting. Neeb controlling, just Disruptors at the moment, then Stealthy with a million billion Blink Stalkers. If you can force back those Immortals, hit those with the Disruptor shots, those Stalkers might be able to clean up the rest. This is turning into a bit of an epic game.
Yeah, I'm glad too. I like it if we get a team game that goes on for a long time, because then we get to really unpack kind of what this matchup's going to be here. Oh, barely getting that away.
That's a recall unit right there.
Meanwhile, okay, nice blink away there. Stealthy not going to lose too many of those Stalkers.
Oh, catches the Prism though, so bit of a mistake there, no doubt. Those Phoenixes on top of things.
Yep.
Stalkers have got to keep those Phoenixes off of this.
Okay, here come those Disruptors. He decides not to fire them. Again, Neeb with Disruptors is a pretty deadly thing.
Yeah, he's quite good at it. Neeb is actually adding in Colossus now, which is kind of funny. You don't see that every day. Not in a PvP, that's for sure.
Okay. Oh, good pickups there. He actually denied both of those, and now he's going to get the War Prism. Beautifully done here.
Neeb trying to be tricky, but Cyan is on top of things right now.
And I think if Team China can continue to play a stable game, I think they're going to be in perfectly good shape to take the series.
It seems that way. But, this Immortal tech interests me, and the fact that they have more bases.
One thing as well is that Cyan and Resolution never went back to making workers. The same workers here.
Wow.
Yeah, it's actually Stealthy with 50 probes and Neeb with 45. So maybe I spoke too soon.
Well, unit composition-wise, it seems like Cyan is killing it right now.
Right.
These are almost wonky armies coming out of both Neeb and Stealthy, but together, they might be Captain Planet. We don't really know.
Yeah. Okay, another attack over here. And so many Stalkers here from Stealthy. Again, though, I don't know if this is the right unit comp to have. There's a point in time where you don't want Stalkers anymore,
Yeah, totally.
And
they don't scale the best, really. Like you can't have battles where all these are shooting very easily. It's very, very difficult to pull that off.
Eventually you have ones that are running around in the back, trying to get up there and get a shot off.
He just has so many right now. I feel like maybe splitting them into 2 groups could be a very nice move. Right, because you actually have 2 groups that are big enough that you might be able to even snipe a Nexus or something, or run up, snipe an Immortal, get out of there,
Yeah. Okay, it seems like Stealthy wants to try to pop in here. That's the cutest little blink. He could not get them all over there, though. Not enough surface area.
Okay, Cyan sees this, though, and now Stealthy has to get out of here. This is
he needs to blink away.
Danger mode right now.
Again, if he could possibly get that Warp Prism, it would be huge.
Guys, I think I found Alpha Star. I think it's going by the ID Stealthy here.
It's Alpha Stealthy here. Cyan and Resolution just did not make enough probes here. I don't think they're aware of the fact that now Neeb and Stealthy are massively outgrowing them. Stealthy rapidly approaching being maxed out, even if it is just with Stalkers. It's an economy you cannot ignore.
Yeah. He actually fights off Immortal Charge Lot with just Stalkers now in his main base, forces that recall. That is so many Stalkers. We are getting silly right now with this Stalker count.
Yeah, I wonder what the deal is with Stealthy. I guess he's just kind of doing what he's comfortable with. But
well, I bet you Neeb told him to do this. I really think
you're probably right.
Neeb is making like a very complex army with lots of splash damage. But look at this, Cyan getting into Tempest now, which of course are very good against Colossus.
So again, at this point in time, I really thought this was all going to come down to the third base that Stealthy was taking. Instead, I think it's going to come down to Team China possibly losing their own third bases and therefore not being able to develop into a long game.
Yeah, it seemed that way. But with this composition, they've done a great job of pushing everything back. Stealthy continues to try to poke in.
Okay, coming forward once more. Oh, man, the thing is, there's so many immortals in this army.
And Neeb is not even, he's not doing anything. He's just watching this
nowhere
happen.
to be seen.
Yeah. This is where Neeb unallies and then attacks Stealthy as well. Oh my god, a DT.
Okay, well, he's chased away these stalkers. By the way, Stealthy's supply plummeted there.
Yeah, he lost over 30 supply in that battle.
Neeb, who was actually the lowest on supplies and also the lowest on workers, is now up to 75 probes. So right now, Neeb is going to be just this powerhouse player.
Yeah.
And I don't see any reason why Neeb won't attack into. Maybe it'd be resolutions based pretty soon.
Yeah, look at this. Oh my gosh, a lot of probes going down. So many immortals out on the map right now. You know, it's funny. Colossus, like if you can get all of them firing, he's going to have 6 Colossus soon with +2 attack. That is real damage.
Yeah.
That is real damage right there. Like, you never see these comps, obviously, but I feel like Neeb is working up to something that's going to be very surprising.
No, it seems like Neeb has a better grasp on this game from A to Z, right?
Well, he couldn't be doing it if Stealthy was not running around with 48 Blink Stalkers.
Yeah, and that's something you just have to respect. I mean, if you will let those Blink Stalkers have free reign over your bases, it's going to be a disaster.
Now, those DTs seem to have done pretty well. Look how many bases we have right now.
Yeah, this is becoming an epic 2v2.
This is a wild game.
What do you think about the Tempest? Is that really the right thing to go for here? You think so?
Well, you'll wreck the Colossus so hard with this.
Okay.
Just, you will obliterate them if you're getting to target them. So I think a lot of this could come down to that. Yeah, I'm not sure how they're going to try to micro against that. Maybe just trying to blink under it, but you can't blink into a mortal charge. That's not going to work.
Okay, big arc over here. Stealthy and Neeb just killing it. And I mean, look at this supply difference. Cyan and Resolution are about to get crushed under just all of this.
Yeah, the Tempests are knocking out these Colossus very quickly, but just the overall army here.
Yeah, it's not before the entire ground army's been decimated here.
Stealthy smashing through with 1,000,000 stalkers. Cyan being harassed once again. Wow.
We're tied up 1-1.
Yeah. Very cool. Wow, these 2 versus 2s are fun. You can see Neeb and Stealthy getting into it. Absolutely.
They got to be happy with that. I got to say, I think that was China's game to lose, and they kind of threw there.
Oh, the initial attack from these guys got them ahead, and then it felt like China pulled ahead in more of the mid-game.
Yeah.
But like, the way that they divided up what they were doing, Team Americas, seemed to be pretty smart. Like, Stealthy kind of kept them busy with an absurd amount of stalkers.
Right.
And then Neeb just built up the splash damage, right? So, very interesting one.
So we're going to go to Neeb and Cyan in just a little bit here for the final match.
That's right, yeah.
And I actually think Neeb is going to be the favorite here. I think if China was going to win this, they had to win it in the 2v2.
Yeah, I think Neeb is definitely favored against Cyan.
He's just such
if you
a
look
good player.
at non-Korean Protoss players, Neeb is the best. You know, Cyan is very strong, no doubt, but is he Neeb level? I wouldn't say so, but at the same time, it's best of one PvP.
Yeah.
Cyan's hometown, well, not hometown, but home country, right? He's got to feel very comfortable. He's not going to be jet-lagged. You know, he's eating his regular food, sleeping in his regular time zone.
Neeb is so good at live events now.
Yeah,
he's such a natural. I mean,
he's a professional.
I mean, for a guy that's as young as he is, he's certainly very comfortable in his own skin.
Yeah.
You know, very able to do what he practiced and execute it. And so I'm not sure what the map is going to be, but we'll get that loaded up. We will let you guys know.
Yeah, yeah.
Should we continue talking about our memories of WCG, the good old days?
Where were we?
We've been doing more filling than in-game casting at this point in time.
Might be. Well, I got to tell you, I've really enjoyed these 2 vs 2s, but yeah. So, what else, Tasis? Tell me more about you.
Well, I was talking earlier about that. I was too amateurish to know how to hold a mic and talk into it and walk around.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just remember the days. I was groomed as a caster at WCGs.
Oh, how about this story? Tell this story for us. The time you tattled on Stork.
Oh, yeah. I did tattle on Stork. I saw him use the
He's a
observer
tattletale.
bug. Yeah.
So the observer
and
bug.
It was against. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, so the observer bug. This was a bug that was around. It was banned by WCG. Different tournaments had different rules, but
if you
it
fly
wasn't
an
in the
observer
rules.
over a turret while it's making
And hold position it.
Yes.
The turret won't shoot.
Yes. So it stays there. Now you can grab your turret and spam S,
Yes.
and then it just makes it go out. But it's an illegal bug.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, even if it's allowed nowadays, no one ever uses it because everyone's gotten good at spamming out the turret to shoot.
Right.
There's always a Marine around, a Goliath round. It's
Right.
not an issue anymore. But back then it was technically a rule, and I believe, if I recall this correctly, technically he should have gotten a game loss for this.
Yes.
But he did not end up getting it, and then there was this huge discussion on Team Liquid. What is morally correct here? Because Stork obviously should win this game no matter what.
Yeah, it's Stork. He's one of the greatest players of all time.
There's no way he was going to lose this Terran player no matter what happened. That did not impact
bug,
the game.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like it was an observer bug into a shuttle flying over it with Reavers to kill off workers. It was just, but I tattled on him.
You did. You were a tattletale.
I was a tattletale.
As I call all three of my children at this point.
Oh, they're all tattling on each other?
Oh, my gosh. It's their favorite thing to tell me what the other one's doing that's bad.
That was in Seattle, right? That WCG was, I believe.
It might have been. I can't remember which one it was at.
The Seahawks Stadium has a convention hall that's next to it, and they're always doing gaming stuff out of there.
Was it there? Was it in Italy? It was one of those two, I believe, right? It was 2006 or 2007. I can't remember, though.
No, it wasn't in Italy.
Okay. Yeah, actually, Stork wasn't even in Italy.
No, he wasn't in
That was like
Italy
Midas and I Love Move in July or something. Was July?
Yeah, and July was the third one. Yeah,
I thought
you're
he
right.
was.
That was my first time I got to like actually sit down and watch a Korean pro play. It was I Love Uv, and he's like so good. Like every decision he makes is perfect.
He was the scariest player for a time ever, I think. And that involves Flash. Like he was just a player where it was like, you are so much better than everyone.
I remember watching his match against Draco, where there was a chance that Draco could have won the whole thing. You know, he was a very smart player, and I remember they were tied 1-1.
Are you sure it wasn't Draco versus Midas that you're talking about?
Oh, maybe you're right.
I believe it was. I Love Uv, I think, only dropped one map, and it was to Kobo from Malaysia. You remember that game?
Yeah.
So there was this one game in WCG. It was amazing. So Kobo was a Protoss player from Malaysia. He generally won that area. Like him and John Rambo was from Malaysia, wasn't he?
John Rambo was from Malaysia.
Yeah, so those were the two best. John Rambo was a Terran, quite good, and Kobo was a Protoss, quite good for Malaysia. But they weren't like top non-Korean players, but they were very strong. And I Love Uv was the scariest monster on Earth back then.
Yeah.
And Kobo beat him, and it was the funniest thing because there was like a build where you would just kind of go some Marines and a tank and some mines. You lay the mines out so the Protoss can't really come on the map, or they can get hit by mines and lose their army. So like you'll sit back and get an observer, right? So I Love Uv did that and expanded, and Kobo just made a bunch of units and just sent them across the map, and they just didn't hit any mines. Like he just happened to walk around the mines. He didn't know where they were. Just walked around them. True Protoss fashion.
It was truly a Mr. Magoo moment, where Mr. Magoo, the character, is just like somehow missing all sorts of danger everywhere.
Yeah. He just killed him because I Love Uv was so surprised when the army got there. He's like, "What? Like I have mines out there. How could this happen?" Just completely caught off guard and killed him. That was cool. Yeah,
I remember watching I Love Uv. This was against Draco. Maybe it was, but he actually did that. That gimmick strat Terrans can do where they you think that they're going for the fake double, but it's actually like a three racks medic Marine push with tanks. You know what I'm talking about?
I kind of
or
vaguely
2 racks
recall
or whatever
a build
it is.
like this.
Yeah.
Real garb.
It's
hot
just
trash.
If you get there at the right time, the Protoss is like, what? I've got 5 Dragoons here. Why do you have stim and and tanks and gunned him down that way?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. What other WCGs have we been to? I'm glad you remembered the one in Busan. I almost forgot about that one because we were doing so many different.
That was the first year with StarCraft 2, if I recall correctly. Right. And so that made it cool in its own way.
Yeah.
And MVP winning that one. And
that was when MVP was dominating everything. I mean, we were part of our careers was just following MVP around the world.
Yeah, he won a lot of tournaments
and him dominating.
Yeah.
And us being like, MVP's so good.
Yeah. That was a big part of the job.
He was a monster.
Yeah, he was amazing.
I'm glad things have kind of calmed down, though. schedule-wise. There was a period where it was just like so.
Well, I remember that WCG specifically. It was exciting because it was in our home country in Korea, so it was like, hey, everyone's kind of in our area, and we can show all our friends around. But I remember we had done like 3 weekends in a row of travel right before that. Yeah. So as soon as it was over, I went and got on a train and went home. I was like, I can't do this.
We were so ready to just
sorry guys, I can't hang out with you.
Sleep in our own beds.
Yeah. That was a crazy time.
Because when StarCraft 2 first came out, man, we were doing so much more casting than I ever thought. I didn't think there would even be that much StarCraft casting in the universe.
Yeah.
At that time, we were like all over the place.
Yeah.
Traveling. It was actually hard to even have time to play at that point in time. It was,
oh no!
I remember one of these days where I'm like, "Have you played in 2 weeks?" And you're like, "No, we've only been in the studio."
Yeah.
And, the game is constantly changing. It's like, well, we need to be up to date with this. But if we're only here casting, we don't have any time to play. It was crazy. I like how things are a little bit more structured now.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it kind of does better for all the pros seasons and keeping in good shape and stuff, because the pros that would travel all the time would fall off.
Well, this was
It was funny watching MC and Huck, who went to every tournament on Earth, and by 3 tournaments in, they're behind the metagame and haven't practiced because they're only playing in tournaments.
Yeah. Not every hotel had good internet. Certainly not the kind of internet you can play games on either.
No, absolutely.
Okay, we're going to go intro our players and then hop into this match.
Okay, Neeb and Cyan. Looks like Resolution going to watch. Excited to see what his countrymen can do here against Neeb. Of course, the winner of this gets to choose who they play. In the first round tomorrow, which means that someone gets to not play Maru.
Yeah, basically.
I think that would be funny if one of them did choose Maru, but I think generally he's the scariest player here, though he did lose to Neeb already earlier today. It's kind of cool.
Okay, we should be starting this game in a second here. We do have both players in the lobby. The countdown has not begun yet.
Okay.
So much on the line here.
Yeah.
Who is going to get to not play Maru? Now the game is finally about to start. It's going to be back on Thunderbird.
Cool.
These are our 2 veteran players, Neeb versus Cyan, America versus China, in our event match before we start the actual StarCraft 2 tournament.
Cool.
Coolio.
Let's go. Load fast,
play fast. Samsung SSD. Just look at that robot. That robot loads fast and plays fast.
Do you have an SSD, Tasteless?
Yes.
I can't use computers without SSDs anymore.
So we've got Neeb here in the bottom right, and in the upper left, it is Cyan.
There's Neeb.
There's Neeb first and foremost.
I love the flags there. That's awesome. There's Cyan. Playing one-handed.
Wowzers.
Yeah.
So in this PvP, one of the things about Neeb is he's got a very good handle on how this matchup operates.
There was a point in time where he was the best PvP on Earth.
Oh, yeah. No, he was literally on the cutting edge of PvP.
Yeah. Beat basically all the top Korean Protosses to win Kespa Cup. Years ago in 2016, it was, I would say, the biggest moment in esports that year. Of course, all these make-believe award companies didn't agree, but that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, the best of one, you could pull a fast one PvP.
Oh, absolutely. Cyan is not a player that can't take maps off Neeb,
Yeah.
I think that, maybe if you put them against their amateur partners, then that's where the maps don't drop.
Yeah.
Right? But these two are close enough in skill that you can definitely see a nice match here.
So we've got... Is that actually a pylon on the map yet? Or is it just Neeb? No, not yet. But there might be a pylon over here towards the center right. There it is.
Yeah, there's Cyan's pylon.
Mm-hmm.
So
it looks like Neeb's actually going to hide a pylon on the center left here as well.
Okay.
He might end up with both players hiding Stargates here.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. You always can't go for something like a Robo or something. That doesn't seem like a good Robo position for either, but yeah, it seems like Stargate to me. Of course, Thunderbird, we talked about it a little bit because we've already played it some today. Definitely a map where you can see those longer games. But with both of them going proxy Stargate, there's a lot of potential for this game to get out of control very quickly. Yeah.
These Stargates are not close to each other either here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing to note here is that Cyan's going for a depth, so we don't have any anti-air here yet. So an Oracle coming in can absolutely murder a ton of probes.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
Now, back over here on Neeb's side of the map, he's going for Stalkers. So he's sort of organically already having the answer for Oracles if they come in.
Well, let's see if he lets that shield battery finish as well, all right? It's good for Cyan that he sees this shield battery. If he can stay alive and figure out if it finishes, that's definitely very useful.
Cyan letting that pylon finish to clog up Neeb inside of his main here.
Yeah, that's kind of neat.
Didn't expect him to let that finish, but
yeah,
pretty cool. Oh, is he going to spot this yet?
Yeah,
this is like literally
he
scouting all the way around this whole thing.
Yeah, eventually he'll see it. Might take a little bit. Now look at this. This is a beautiful move by Cyan. If he slips these shades in, oh, I guess he's not going to do it, but you can make it so that the shades go right into vision just as the pylon's about to die, and sometimes you can get in at that point.
Yeah, they might not be playing fast enough, and so those are going to finish over there. Nice spotting, though. He does see that, and so he's going to know immediately that there's going to be Oracles headed his way. Now, Neeb has an Oracle headed northbound right now.
Yeah, not sure exactly how much damage he'll get done. A couple Stalkers are waiting, and there's a shield battery. But he's going Phoenixes behind this, so he can really block Cyan's Oracle coming out. Feels like a slight Neeb advantage for sure, if I could say so.
Okay, this Adept is going to go down now. And we have the 2 Oracles coming up. Let's see if they can get any kills here. I think Neeb should be ready, though.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine this doing very much against Neeb. So he's already on top of him.
He's going to have to recall that or something here.
Yeah, if he can't recall, you got to at least split him. Maybe draw him into your own Phoenix? I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like one of these is about to go down.
Yeah.
And, I'll take losing a Phoenix to get rid of one of those Oracles.
Unless it turns into mass Phoenix Wars and then you're down a Phoenix.
That's true.
Could be.
Phoenix is sometimes, once that arm race starts, it's hard for it to be undone,
Yeah, yeah. Because then if you just have some Phoenixes but less than your opponents, man, you gotta have a lot of things go right to win that game.
Oh, yeah.
So both sides are making Phoenixes right now. Let's see if they just continue on this. Now, there's several things you can do with this. You can either go mass Phoenix, or you can try to combo them with like a Stalker attack.
Sure.
And see if you can just knock down the front door.
Yeah. One thing about Phoenix versus Phoenix fights is you have to get a very good exchange right away because the damage output on those things is very high.
Yeah.
So, if you start to kill off one Phoenix, it can then snowball and exponentially you end up way, way, way ahead.
Neeb actually getting a little bit of harassment done. Not sure what we're doing here. Just using up the shield battery energy and the Oracle energy.
Okay, and then he's going to go ahead and recall that back home.
The Nexus energy as well. Sorry, I did miss that.
And right now, Neeb, as far as workers go, pretty far ahead here. So it seems like as the game continues to go on, if Cyan doesn't do something dramatic pretty quickly here, Neeb is just going to outgrow him.
I think that Cyan's advantage lies in his Phoenixes. He killed the pylon, powering Neeb's Stargate. So he should just have an advantage in Phoenix count. So maybe there's some chance to either do a bit of harassment or attack with his whole army.
Maybe that's the real story here. Cyan is right outside of Neeb's base, and Neeb is going to set up for a counterattack. I don't know that Cyan's ready for this, but if Cyan can do enough damage here at the entrance, it probably isn't going to matter.
Yeah, it seems like there's just enough for Neeb that you can't really do it, right? The shield battery plus similar amount of Stalkers and one less Phoenix.
Yeah. Well, also it seems like Cyan is just going to try to start making probes again. So he's in the game of catch-up right now. And he is going to go for that Dark Shrine as well. Now, meanwhile, Neeb's Adepts are going to come in here, and they can two-shot down probes easy.
Yeah, that's really painful. Very, very well done here by Neeb to get those couple of Adepts in there. Even those 3 probe kills are pretty substantial. 4 even, wow.
Okay. Again, that Dark Shrine's so far out from finishing.
He saw the Dark Shrine, though.
It was right in the path of those Adept Shades.
Yeah. But wait, did Neeb actually see it? Because
that's a good question. He might have just thought it was a pylon or something like that. Well, there's a robo. Oh, does he just not have one?
Yeah, Neeb does not have a robo.
Oh, my God.
So there is, like,
so it was
that's
scouted,
the same size as a pylon. You might just be like, I'm just making a pylon. It's fine. Yeah, yeah, man. Like, Neeb looks like he's setting up for a big attack.
Yeah, 5 more gateways, so he definitely hasn't seen that. Now,
oh my gosh.
He has no oracles, right? Or does he have...
If he has 1 oracle, so if the DTs get split, if you make more DTs, like, this could end up being a Cyan victory.
Okay, now, let's see if Cyan splits this properly.
Yeah, he really should. This is...
Here we go. Neeb on 2 bases, not a lot of places to try to shuffle your probes to.
Yeah, Neeb just realizing what's going on. He starts throwing down some cannons and whatnot, but this is going to be a lot of damage no matter how you cut it.
Yeah,
he's cutting with the scythe.
Insane, an insane amount of damage here immediately.
Yeah. This is wild. 15, 16 probes. Oh my God.
This massive lead that Neeb had is just completely disappearing. Now he takes out that one DT, but there's still this other one over here. Finally he manages to get that one as well, but not after. 22 workers have been picked
That's
off.
absurd.
That's crazy.
That is so much damage. And now, like, the Dark Shrine tech, he can just make some Archons to go with it, right? And there's just, like, Cyan's in a great spot. Well, not sure if that was the move, but maybe you didn't realize that was a cannon warp, and it kind of looked like it could have been a pylon as well.
Okay, well, I think from here, I mean, what Cyan needs to do is stay back and try to develop a better and better army.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you there. Get a few upgrades. You know, he can either make the Nexus or go for a timing attack. It looks like he's going to go for the Nexus. You know, considering that he has 2 Immortals already, I really can't fault him for how he's playing this, right? If you just continually make Immortals, get your +1, and then go into charge Archon, that is good stuff.
Okay, Zealot charge about to finish on both sides. Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, it's almost more of a race here for Cyan. He just needs to keep putting one foot in front of the other one, and he should be able to navigate this one to a win. But the thing is, Neeb is so crafty. You know, he really is. He really knows the ins and outs, and he could be very behind, like we saw in that 2v2. He was the only player that didn't have an expansion, and by the end of the game, he had the most probes and the most bases. So let's watch for that as well here.
Very good at knowing when those things can be squeezed in. So +2 is on the way for Neeb. That's definitely one place, at least, that he has that advantage.
We have a Warp Prism coming here from Cyan. He may be using this to try to do a push, or it might even be more likely that he's just going to try to use this to warp in attacking units whenever Neeb tries to leave his base.
Yeah, definitely possible there. I'm worried for Neeb as we don't have Immortals in production. You know?
Yeah.
What is the answer to the Immortals?
The Immortal is the greatest unit in all of RTS Artosis.
It's pretty strong.
And if you don't have it, you better have something else that can really answer that, and I just don't see it coming. And, you know, part of this is that Neeb was basically setting up to do this really powerful 2-base timing attack, and he was skipping detection to make that attack even more powerful. Yeah. But since he skipped detection, the DT's killed all the workers, and now we're seeing Neeb play off-brand here.
Yes. Well, his +2's finishing similar time to +1 for Cyan. So
there's that.
He does have an advantage in upgrades. And if he just kind of sits back defensively, it's not like he's going to die anytime soon. This is a pretty decent choice. He's going second Robo and into Disruptor tech. So Disruptors are a great way to deal with this, but if Cyan catches on and adds Phoenixes, it becomes pretty difficult, right?
Yeah,
the Immortals will eventually just end up killing things.
Right. Nice feedbacks there.
Yeah, really good.
Into Archons now.
Yeah, I think that if you just kind of look at the state of the game right now, Cyan has a big advantage. But if you look at strategically where they're both going, there's a window for Cyan. And if he doesn't hit it, if he doesn't do something or switch what he's doing, then it's a Neeb advantage.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about, is that Cyan might just stay back and be too passive here, you know?
Yeah. It really seems to be a possibility. Colossus, never mind. I'm so caught off guard. I am so caught off guard.
Yeah,
now
Phoenix's Colossus tech.
Yeah, I mean, Phoenixes can't counter them. So that's one thing. Here's the problem with Colossus, right? There's 2 things that counter them really hard. One is the Disruptor, and the other is Tempest. Well, I guess Carriers would too, but you don't really go Carriers anymore. But yeah, like if you see that they're going for this, you could definitely go Disruptors, and it's hard for the Colossus stand on top of units, so that's the epitome of clumped.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Colossus beams obviously don't do as much as Disruptor shots, so there's that, or there's of course the Tempest that we saw in the 2v2. So I'm surprised though to see this, but I'm excited. I'm excited about it, Tasis.
Yeah, well, this is one of the reasons why Neeb is like the scariest Protoss player outside of Korea, and sometimes when he's inside Korea, he's also still the scariest player. Is that he really understands the entirety of this matchup, for instance, right? He was in a pretty disastrous situation. I mean, mid-game, 2 DTs get in there and kill 22 probes. And he still basically looks fine now.
Yeah.
With an off-kilter tech as well.
+3 Colossus, man. I mean, that is going to evaporate Zealots quickly, right? And you can kite everything with Colossus, basically.
Okay, Cyan's going to go for an initiation here.
He's adding 2 Robos and his own Disruptor Tech behind this as well, although I don't know if I should still call it Disruptor Tech at this point. Right? Maybe it's Colossus Tech again. It used to be Colossus Tech.
Oh, he could get a warp in here, maybe try to get the forge.
Yeah.
Pretty
decent harassment. He sees Colossus now.
He's trying to get that army relocated to where he can't defend his fourth, but it looks like Cyan's going to back off now.
Now let's see if he goes into Disruptors here or he tries his own Colossus. Because he's going 3 Robo, right? So you see the Colossus that your opponent has. So he's kind of scouting extra right now. I guess he actually misses most of it, but I really want to see what Cyan's choice is. Maybe I'm completely out of the loop and now it's back to Colossus somehow in this matchup. No, there it is. 3 Disruptors, and I think that's a great choice. So now I think what you do here is Neeb. You kill this, of course, then start poking with your Colossus, right? There's no Disruptors out yet.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
All right, we have a minor technical delay here.
So we should be having a pause in the game real quick here. Oh, my God. It's just as Neeb is going up the ramp. That's why he was like, oh, God, what's going on here?
Not an ideal moment to have that. You could feel the tension here.
Oh, my God.
Cyan in front of a huge amount of Chinese fans here. And, he does not want to disappoint.
No. Yeah, well, he definitely has his shot to win this game. Like, this is pretty close right now. Neeb is walking uphill. He has +1 attack upgrade, but he doesn't have Immortals.
I hope we can get this get back in the game right as this fight happens, because some of the most significant parts might be happening in front of us.
Yeah.
Now, I have lost on our monitor. I don't... Okay, here we go.
It's okay. They're going to figure this out. They'll figure this out and get us back. The game is going to end very quickly after this because Neeb is committing. So it's either going to work or it's not going to work, and it's going to happen quick.
The tension, you can feel it.
Yeah, like if he's going to run, he has to run like within 3 seconds of unpausing the game because the amount of damage that's about to come out from both sides.
Yeah.
So this is exciting, though. Neeb, always on the cutting edge of PvP.
Yeah. I love Cassidy's games. He's such a smart player.
Well... a lot of fans here in the audience, standing room only at this point.
That's
a lot
right.
of people starting to gather around in the back.
It's so fun having all these games going on at the same time, too.
Yeah. If I look out of the corner of my eyes, I see commentators everywhere, screens everywhere. This is the future.
Yeah, this is nerd paradise here.
Yeah.
I'm loving this. Well, as soon as we can, we'll be going back into this game. Going to be a very tough moment here for both these guys. Is the moment it's unpaused, almost all significant decisions have to be made right there. We did have Neeb going up a ramp.
Here's a question for you, right? This is such a futuristic thing that we're doing right now, this tournament. Where is the line where you go back in time, you pluck someone up, you bring them to WCG, and they don't think this is magic, they think that we're aliens? Where's that line? Because you go far enough back, it's magic. Everything here's magic, right? You go back to the Middle Ages, magic. That would explain this.
Oh, right. Yeah,
right?
yeah,
We're all
yeah.
sorcerers is what this is.
Yeah, where I'm like, see this brick in my pocket? I can call somebody on the other side of the world with this.
Yeah. So, where is that line, Tasteless? Where this ceases to be magic? I think TVs have to exist. I think that's where the line is.
Yeah, no, I was going to say TVs, not radio, but TVs have to exist.
Yeah, maybe that's right.
Black and white movies. Yeah. Okay, are we going to go back in? Not yet.
No, I think they're still fixing it right now. Yeah, this is going to be exciting, though, seeing what he does with these Colossus. The sharp Colossus.
I'll tell you what
attack.
I love, speaking of that question, is I love, now that gaming is getting put on a lot of mainstream, like just cable TV channels, because cable TV is having to catch up to us now. I'm loving watching sports ball adults flip out that there's video games on TV.
Oh, you like that?
I live for that. I love watching, I don't know, people in their 60s who are TV hosts trying to laugh at video game tournaments.
Oh, yeah. No, that
like we're not
part's
cool or
pretty funny.
something. Like, you got us. Oh, you're right, I do play computer games a lot. You know?
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, it's getting especially funny because, like, that was, they'd always... Whenever esports stuff was covered when we were young, when they said what it was, they would say a statement but it would go up at the end.
Like
an esports tournament? A video game
young
tournament?
adults are competing in computer game tournaments for money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a period, but they say it as a question.
All over the world are fighting for a championship.
And I remember that, right? And how that was and how weird it was looked at. And then I'm like, okay, I'm 36 and I have kids, and like, should you guys still be on the TV and still doing this now? Like, still?
Well, I think this is going to go on for at least another decade. Like, but I mean, do they really? Why would they watch someone else play a computer game?
Yeah.
I'm actually amazed that this is even a difficult concept to understand.
No.
Okay.
We're back in the game. Okay, here we go. That's a lot of Archons in the front right there. Okay. Disruptors are going to be popping out. Here come the Disruptors. Oh, my God.
Boom!
See? Oh, huge disruptor shots.
Big
huge
hits there.
Yeah.
But Neeb's not done. He's going to try to push up again. He's got to watch out, though. Another disruptor shot should be inbound. He's going to try to target down that disruptor, actually.
Oh, we definitely want to keep these disruptors alive. They're so valuable. Here comes another one. Huge disruptor shot. Now, if Neeb kills enough here, he might be able to just transition into something else altogether. But this is more than enough units from Cyan to knock this all out now.
Yeah,
look at this. Dropping his Immortals.
Come forward, and both Stalkers and Colossi are terrible against this unit composition.
Yeah.
Beautifully done.
Get that Prism, Neeb. Get that Prism. He can't kill you if you get the Prism, maybe.
Unfortunately, he does not, and the chase continues. And now Cyan's going to try to sink his teeth in here. He's going to continue to push forward.
Yeah, I think that Neeb holding this base is impossible, but I think he might try. Yeah, I can't see him holding that. I wish he had been able to turn around and snipe the Prism. Obviously, he went home to deal with whatever was going on there. Yeah, here come those Disruptors. Ooh, good dodge, good dodge.
Oh, not quite synced.
Yeah, I don't think he cares about that one so much.
Problem is that he cannot afford to lose his fourth base. Now, there's Disruptors here for Neeb.
Okay, he gives up the fourth. I think it's correct, because otherwise you just lose the game. Right. It's better to be like, okay, I'm behind, but give me time.
Oh, meanwhile, a big attack down here.
Oh, my God.
Cyan starting to kill more and more workers off down there, and I love this. Cyan backs up, taking his lead and just getting further ahead here.
So now this is turning into Disruptor Wars. Mass Disruptor versus Mass Disruptor. Who has Blink?
I don't know.
Are we going to see...
I don't think... We don't have either of them having Blink.
Yeah, right? I don't think so. Because that's something you kind of want in those situations. Oh, that's so funny.
Ooh, really bad Disruptor shot there.
Yeah.
Shield battery buying enough time for the rest of this army to come in here and save the day.
Let me in. This isn't fire. All right, so I guess that the game goes on. It'll be interesting to see exactly what the comps are going to be, because we see both Disruptors and Colossus being made by Neeb. So interesting, man. I remember there was a tiny period where Phoenixes came into the meta and then Colossus re-entered as a counter against that, but it was only timing attacks, and then it went away completely.
I'm a little bit worried here for Neeb, man. He's not going to be able to get across the map. If he can't clean up this harass, Cyan's just going to pull further through here with a lead.
Yeah. All right. Neeb backing up and Cyan as well. Oh, God, DTs everywhere.
Oh, my God. If he could target down that Nexus, that'd be huge, too. And that's exactly what he's going to try to do.
Oh,
good save there.
That, though. Okay, he's getting Observer speed, so that shouldn't be a problem anymore. 2 Disruptor shots shot out at once. You got to be very careful over... Oh, he actually gets it, just the toe of it. It's a Lego you don't want to step on.
That is a Lego you don't want to step on, Artosis.
Yeah.
Now, Neeb has got a nice little hidden base at 6 o'clock. You can see Cyan, Neeb's like kind of trying to come out here and reclaim this, but he's actually hidden something pretty well. I don't actually think that Cyan sees that yet.
No, you're definitely right about that. Cyan pulling back. It's interesting to see Cyan add in Immortals here once again, because Disruptors do reasonably well against Immortals. Obviously, if anything goes wrong, the Immortals will end up killing everything, but you can counter them in this situation.
Well, I guess you both have Disruptors continuously coming out here.
Yeah. What an interesting game, because it feels like Cyan's ahead, but Neeb is very good in these situations.
Yeah, Neeb's playing a great game despite being behind here.
The Prism harassment feels like it's making the most difference out of everything right now.
Yeah, well, it's just been going on for so long.
Yeah. Now, Neeb is getting into Blink, which is a big deal. That'll help him to shut down some of this harassment.
Right.
It'll also help him to have a more mobile army. Blink Disruptor goes well together.
Oh, ouch.
Sick hit. Yeah, the zoning here is so powerful. Cyan really getting up in there. Oh my gosh.
Now, is this going to be enough, though? Cyan's coming in here. Now, we have attacks from all different angles. Yeah, the disruptors from Neeb not really hitting what he needs to hit right now. And now it's Cyan is going to have his disruptors off cooldown. Oh my god, the massacring is occurring. Big connects up there. And with these warp pins, a few good disruptor shots could easily take care of that. But look at this, a recall back, but Cyan doesn't bring everything back with him.
No,
and so Neeb actually crushes through here. Beautifully done.
So at the end of that, Cyan definitely still ahead. I think there's no question.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, he's just everywhere.
Power outage back inside the main.
Cyan has so much. So Neeb will clean all this. Similar supplies, Neeb has the bigger army. That's significant. I think he has to kill at least one of these bases, right? Minimum, he has to kill one.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, catches those DTs. That was a little bit of a lucky break that he went through that way, because that would have been very, very annoying.
Let's see if Neeb can make this work. It's not the best army in the world.
No, but it's an army.
And with the disruptor shots. Okay, now hold on. Cyan's got a lot of disruptor shots he can start to chuck out here. Okay, good dodge. Definitely staying out of the range of that. Very important.
He's got 2 shots on cooldown right now.
Oop, there's that Stargate from the start of the game.
Okay, Neeb gonna walk around the other way.
Yeah.
He only has that one disruptor, so now he's got to be very careful. Oh, a second one comes. That's important.
Okay, here we go. He does see this one ahead of time.
Oh, yeah.
Shot over there.
Oh, he could have gotten that. He could have gotten that. I love the Zealot leading there to check what's up there so Cyan doesn't overcommit.
Uh-oh.
Look at this. Disruptors from 2 sides. Uh-oh. Oh, they both miss.
Good dodging. Neeb now ahead in supply just slightly. It's been a crazy game, guys.
Now, let's see if Neeb can get down here and get the damage he's looking for. Cyan's economy has really been built beautifully at this point. Oh my god!
That was as good as you could ever ask for.
That was an
amazing disruptor shot.
Amazing shot.
Oh my god! We're going to be going back and looking at that moment in this game. This is crazy.
Oh, he's trying for the disruptor flank.
I like it, but it did not work.
It was such a good idea.
Might take this. Another great shot and another.
Beautiful shots from Neeb here, really showing his expertise with this archaic unit composition.
Wow, Neeb is so good. He just has such a good understanding of how this matchup operates. I mean, this is a game where he lost 22 probes on 2 bases.
Yeah.
And here we are. He was actually down on expansions before this big attack, and here we are. It looks like he's putting the finishing touches on this victory here against Cyan.
Hold on, though. Cyan does have the Prism with the disruptor, so he's trying to do a disruptor flank here. If he can get some good shots.
Unfortunately, he's getting all the right hits.
You're quite right about that. The flank of Neeb comes in, and Neeb somehow, some way coming back in an amazing game here. Cyan with no real shot left anymore. Wow, those disruptor shots really were key. Really key.
I really love this game.
Yeah.
God, Neeb is such a great player. I mean, the way he handled this was just so intelligent.
Yeah. Beautifully done. I love the tech switches both these guys ended up showing, though, to be honest. Cyan made some great moves. It's just the disruptor shots at the end. Neeb was too strong with the zoning utility and actually landing the shots he needed for the victory. Really felt like Cyan was going to win that for a while, too.
Yeah. No,
shows you never give up.
Going to take it. Yeah, hang on. Stay in your games as long as you can.
Yeah, don't let people call you Fantasy or Marine King or anything like that.
Yeah.
There's always a chance.
Okay, well, we're waiting for Cyan to tap out here, but there really is no way to come back from this.
Yeah. Cyan's 1 Archon ends up falling. He's got that 1 disruptor now.
Third base.
Yeah, he's just not got anything left, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's just nothing left.
Well played.
GG, Neeb does it.
Great game there.
Winning our special event tournament.
We've actually been pretty lucky with the games WCG so far. They've actually been really good.
Best players, best casters.
My God. Is NA always going to dominate esports? Probably.
Europe going to catch up. APAC.
Yeah, when's APAC going to catch up? That's the real question.
Great games there. And I really enjoyed this series.
Yeah, well done by Team Americas. Which means Neeb gets to decide who to play against in that next round. Now, Cyan just put up a good series against him. He said he was going to choose Cyan when we were talking to him. Do you think that's still the case? I guess when you look at who else there is Maru, best Terran player in the world.
Yes.
And Raynor, who just won WCS over Cyril. So I still think he's going to choose Cyan.
I think he's going to pick that for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to get to see that process, but we'll be finding out soon. We'll probably find out online.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to do the group draw here on stream or not.
That was a really delightful PvP.
Yeah, it was.
It really highlighted why Neeb is such a powerhouse in that matchup specifically. I mean, losing 22 probes to DTs in the mid-game when you're doing a 2-base timing push of all things.
Gosh, painful.
And you had no detection, by the way. So it's not even like you can counterattack because you need to be able to hold that DT. The fact that he could actually maneuver out of that into a winning position, he won that push on less bases.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
It's crazy. And I got to say, the 2 vs 2 was amazing as well. What a good 2 vs 2.
Well.
Even the amateur 1 vs 1 was quite good.
Yeah.
We've just had a good day of games overall.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun. It's good to be back.
Yeah. I wonder what's going to happen in the full tournament that's coming up, right? Let's just say that it's Neeb or Cyan on one side, right? So we get a Protoss in the finals.
Okay.
And then we have Maru versus Raynor, who's just on fire right now. Raynor's looking so strong. Is that just a Maru victory? I don't know if it's that simple.
I think we're going to look at some highlights in a second here.
Cool.
Of the event match. Great game back there, really. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Good stuff.
He's just a monster. But we'll probably end up with a rematch of that.